Welcome back, race fans, to the oldest microsprint track in the United States, Coles County Speedway, located right here in Mattoon, Illinois. I'm Casey Bentz, and we will not have only the 305 sprint cars, which are down there in the staging area. We'll also have the vintage sprint cars here at the racetrack as well. Also at Intermission, we'll have the extremely talented American flat track racer Dallas Daniels on tap for he'll run out and run a couple laps on his motorcycle. The hot lap running order for tonight will, of course, consist, as I mentioned earlier, the 305 sprint cars are up first. Up after them will be the A-Class wing cars. Following the A-Class wings will be the junior sprints, then the non-wings, restrictors, and then the vintage sprint cars will finish out the hot lap sessions for today. But of course, rolling out onto the racetrack now are our 305 sprint cars. Only have 3 of them out here tonight. As they come on out to the racetrack, there's no onboard starters on these cars, so they will have to get a little bit help getting started. Once we get them started up, we'll run a couple laps to build some engine heat, and then we'll let them go for their hot lap session. You can also see the track crew giving these drivers a little bit of separation so they can get themselves some good lap times down here early on. Last week, they were down inside the 10-second range, running lap times of near around 9-ish seconds. I saw on the live timing. I was not here at the racetrack last week, but I did see on the live timing they were running around 9.8s, 9.7s in the hot lap session. Now, rolling off of turn number 4, you'll have the first car, Jarrett Wynett from Springfield, Illinois, as he rolls past the flag stand. Out behind him, you'll see the 1T of Tyler Shoemaker from Clinton, Illinois. And the last car out there, the number 27 in that orange car up there in the middle of turns 3 and 4, will be Cody Werlisle from Burlington, Iowa. And as I mentioned before, all 3 cars have been fired. Now we'll give them a couple laps to build some engine heat. And we'll see if live timing wants to cooperate on my race pass. It might. If I can get it to cooperate, we'll use the live lap times as they run out on the racetrack. And our flagman John Shipman waiting for the drivers to give him the OK signal. I think I got a thumbs up there from Shoemaker as he rolls off to turn 1. 27 looks to be good as well, waiting for the 99. See if he's good. I believe he's good as well. So caution light should extinguish. We should be getting the green for these 305 sprint cars very shortly as they roll up into turns 3 and 4. The control car looking to be the 1T of Tyler Shoemaker as he rolls off turn number 4, waiting on the flagman. Flagman waves him off down into turn 1. We're going hot lapping here with the 305 sprint cars. 27 pouring a little bit of smoke from the left side. It looks like no harm, no foul so far for that 27. Live timing looking like it's unfortunately not going to cooperate here for at least this first session, at least on the My Race Pass end. As they come back through turns 3 and 4, they look pretty clean so far. Trying out that top groove, you see Wayne right down there on the bottom of the racetrack. The other 2 sprint cars up about the middle to the top. A lot of these guys really diving now. You see the 1T, the 27 does the same thing. Right back down, starts up top, comes back down on the exit for turn number 4. As they make their way back up to turns 3 and 4, you still see the 1T on your screen. Back at home, if you're tuning in on WFO TV, as they work their way around here to the white flag this time. Let's see if we can get My Race Pass up cooperating after this session, but the fast cars look like going to be the 1T and the 27. Look like they're running about a similar pace to each other. As I've now seen the smoke that was coming out of that number 27 no longer pouring out of the left side of that car, and everybody gets through the hot lap session cleanly. So a good run here in the first hot lap session. Of course, unfortunately, My Race Pass not cooperating so far. We'll try to get that issue sorted out, and we'll get the live timing set up just in a little bit, hopefully. I'll definitely say watch for Tyler Shoemaker and Cody Werlisle to do battle with each other out in the heat races and beyond. Coming up next, going to be the A-Class wing cars after the 305 sprint cars make their way off the racetrack. 10 of the Spartan Transportation A-Class wing cars out at the racing facility tonight. They'll get waved onto the racetrack here shortly. Our flagman is waiting on them. I see them down there in the staging area. Flagman's waving them in, as it looks like they're letting a couple spectators make their way past the track entrance, I should say, down there. Tyler Taylor going to be the first one to bring these Spartan Transportation A-Class wing cars out onto the racetrack. Tyler Taylor in that 88T from Danville, Illinois. Behind him, it's Paul Day from Atwood, Illinois in the 90. Also out there rolling off turn number 2, the 21V of Danny Vicino from Terre Haute, Indiana. Green flags waving as they come off of turn 4 this time. Also out there, the Larry Drake machine in the 97D from Terre Haute, Indiana as well as they roll off into turns 1 and 2. Looking at, we may have a little bit of a fuel leak from the 88T. I can see definitely something was pouring out of the around the fuel area of that Tyler Taylor car. We'll see if I can see it again as he rolls back off into turn 1. It looks like, nope, it's gone away. Whatever it was, definitely something Tyler was not looking to have here early on in the night. Hopefully they can get that thing fixed. Whatever issue it was, hopefully it doesn't show back up later on tonight. Everybody else looking pretty good so far. We'll watch Larry Drake this time as he rolls off into turn 2. Larry Drake's got that left front tire up in the air. He's got an issue. He's slow on the backstretch now as he heads off into turn number 3. He's trying to keep the car rolling in the right direction, but with this, the checkered flag will fly as the field makes their way back around him, and he's got a flat right rear tire. Just a tough break there for Larry Drake here in the hot lap sessions. It's a good place to do it, though. He can get that fixed and come back out for the heat races with a pretty fast race car, as he normally does here at Coles County. But just a tough break in the hot lap session for him. Doesn't get a really as good of a idea of what the track is like for his car so far here early on. So any adjustments he will likely want to make to his car will likely come after the heat races. Got another group of Spartan Transportation A-Class wings coming out onto the racetrack now. They're side by side out onto the racing surface. We'll see which one gets ahead. It's Noah Mell in the 95M from Fairland, Indiana. Behind him, the 11R Harrison Robards from Dardenne Prairie, Missouri. Behind them, the 3X of Keaton Lines from Centralia, Illinois. Also out there, the 21M of Bruce Myers from Bethallo, Illinois. Off of turn number 2, the 96 of Nate Kisper from New Lenox, Illinois. And the last car out there, Drew Sherman in the 3 from Phoenix, Arizona. Green flags waving here on the second Spartan Transportation A-Class wing hot lap session. As they work their way down into turns 1, Harrison Robards already gotten around Noah Mell, and he's already starting to pull away. He's got a pretty fast car tonight, as he normally does, in the Spartan Transportation colors. Another battle going on there up at turn 4. The 96 will get past. That'd be Nate Kesper getting on past the 21M of Bryce Myers. White flag waving as now Drew Sherman starting to close in on the back bumper of the 21M of Myers. Bruce Myers throwing a defensive line, goes to the top side this time. He'll let Drew Sherman go on the bottom as checkered flag waves to complete the hot lap sessions for the Spartan Transportation A-Class wings. Up next will be the junior sprints. Last week they were running without the wings. Pretty cool little race they had last week. 12 of them this week. This time they've got the wings on. We'll wait to see when they get waved out onto the racetrack. Flagman waves them on. I can see him coming. First one onto the racetrack will be the 1Z of Xander LaRose from Festus, Missouri. Behind him as they work down into turns 1 and 2. A little bit of side-by-side between the 25... One of the 25 cars, there's 3 of them. I believe it's Presley Hall from Deslodge, Missouri. Also out there, the 49 of Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois, as they come to the green flag. Joe Bonowitz in the D52. In the Cameron Romack Racing colors. They've decided to take that car this year. Behind him will be the 99K of Carter Bates from Hillsboro, Missouri, as he's trying to get past Bonowitz. Also out there, the 57 of Nolan Leone from Mahomet, Illinois. And also out there, the 22F of Evan France from Lovington, Illinois. See two of the faster cars already being the 1Z of Xander LaRose and the 49 of Grayson Graham. As they come to the white flag, they've stayed pretty closely attached to each other as they roll back into turns 1 and 2 here in the top lap session. Everybody else trying to just keep a little bit of gap between them and the next car in front of them, try to get a good feel for their race cars. Checkered flag is out for the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint Hot Lap Session 1. I can see more of them waiting back there in the track entrance as they will see what they can do in the second session. Flagman's going to wave them on. Second group of the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprints out onto the racetrack, being led by Madison Meany in the 10M from Terre Haute, Indiana. She'll get passed right away, though, by Colton Vogel in the 14 from Buffalo, Illinois. Third car out there going to be one of the 25 cars. I believe that'd be the 25B of Case Barnard from Dawson, Illinois. The yellow flag nations remain on the speedway. Also out there, the 95 of Bentley Hopper, from Charleston, Illinois. So it looks like only 4 of them will make up this second session. There are more cars than this, but fortunately it looks like we are going to have a few that aren't going to make it out onto the racetrack for a hot lap session. No, we have finally, there's another car, the 42 of Dylan Schaefer, also from Charleston, Illinois, out onto the racetrack. Caution lights are out, and waiting on the green now from the flagman. It's out. We're going hot lapping here on session number 2 for the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprints. This session much more spread out than the first session was. And we'll not really get a good idea of who's fast and who's not, as, again, everybody's really just separated out. And, of course, with live timing, unfortunately, not really working right now on My Race Pass. We're not going to get a good idea. Colton Vogel might be one of those faster cars, though. Looks like he might be closing in on Madison Meany just a little bit. We'll see the distance as they hit the backstretch this time, and maybe just a little bit, maybe a couple tenths a lap at most. But white flag will be waving to Madison Meany, who's the control car here in session number 2. Meany will navigate turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flags waving for Madison Meany here in the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint Hot Lap Session number 2. And that will do it for the Hot Lap Sessions for the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprints. They'll make the left turn off of turn number 2 to make it back to the pit area. And coming up next will be the non-wings. The non-wing micros being sponsored this season by Cleveland Grain Systems. These junior sprints making their way off the racing surface, which will allow for these Cleveland Grain non-wing micros to come on out to the racetrack for their hot lap sessions. So coming out onto the racetrack now, the Cleveland Grain Systems non-wing micros, 13 entries for them tonight. They're being led out by the 51B of Parker Bump from Fairland, Indiana. Also out there, the 11R Harrison Robards from Dardenne Prairie, Missouri, took the wing off his car and is running non-wing also tonight, doing double duty. Also out there, I see Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona, also running double duty tonight. Coming right here at the flag stand is going to be the 18M of Andrew Morgan from Greencastle, Indiana. And Drew Sherman behind him. And back behind Drew Sherman will be the 7F of Nolan Bartley from Hammond, Illinois. And then also the 45S, I think it's actually shown as a 456 of J.R. Carter from Charleston, Illinois, making up this first Cleveland Grain Non-Wing Micros Hot Lap session. We're green as they work their way down into turn one. We got a pretty big pack here of race cars, about 4 or 5 cars really within the straightaway of each other, but everybody else behind them pretty separated out. See already Harrison Robards working on J.R. Carter as they work on their way over to turns 1 and 2, so definitely Robards faster than Carter. As they work their way back to turns 3 and 4, Robards going to just sit in line, let himself figure out his race car down on the bottom. Car looked loose on the bottom. He figures it out, get it a little bit straighter on the exit of turn 2. White flags waving, Drew Sherman across the stripe as a control car. So checkered flag will come out for the first Cleveland Grain Non-Wing Micro session for the Hot Laps. Parker Bupp having a little bit of issues down there in the mud. Of course, just so much water on the we got here yesterday. Luckily, just not enough to cancel racing. We still got racing going, but it looks like maybe a little bit of trouble there for Parker Bupp getting off the racing surface. But there will be a second session for these Cleveland Grain Non-Wing Micros coming out onto the racetrack next. Flagman's waving them on in. And here they come out onto the racing surface. Leading them out is going to be the 38 of Dustin Galbraith from Charleston, Illinois. A lot of Charleston drivers in the field of drivers tonight. Also out there, the 47 of Clay Frederick from St. Joseph, Illinois. Also out there, the 14, it looks like. I do not see a 14 on my Race Passes scoring monitor, so we'll figure out who that is as we get later on into the evening. Also out there, the 21 via Danny Vicino. Again, running double duty like a lot of these drivers are from Terre Haute, Indiana. Green flag waving as they come around. There's also another 3 car here. It'd be Keaton Lines, as one car thought we got the green flag. It looks like we did get the green flag, but there's a little bit of confusion by the field, and we have one car up and over. It's Galbraith, red flag displayed. Yeah, it looked like Galbraith may have caught the wall in the front stretch and then something in the steering broke, and nothing you can do in that situation. Luckily, a pretty harmless flip it looked like, as our track crew already down there working on getting that car righted already. Just a tough break for Justin and Galbraith out of Charleston. So Dustin Galbraith, number 38, going to go on the hook after some sort of steering failure on that number 38 machine. So he'll head back to the pit area. Hopefully he can get that fixed, and we'll see him back out here for the heat races. Caution flag is displayed once again on the speedway. So we'll head back to green on the hot lap session here shortly. as the field will make their way back around turns 3 and 4. We'll see who's the control car chosen. Looks like it will be the 14. It will be waved on through to the green flag. Everybody gets it going once again. Of course, only 3 of them left out here for the Cleveland Grain Systems non-wing micros. That other 3 car out there, by the way, Keaton Lines from Centralia, Illinois, running double duty, which is why you see the wing mount still on the top of the race car. As they come around to the green, and unfortunately our teams down there in the pit area, we're still trying to get My Race Pass live timing working. Our tower crew is working diligently on the issue. Hopefully we can get that fixed by the time we get to the heat races. But for now, you can see these cars out here. That 21V, Danny Vicino looking pretty quick. Also, that's 3 car of Keaton Lines looking quick as well. Both of them tracking down the 14 as they come around to the white flag on the second Cleveland Grain non-wing micros hot lap session. As they come around to the checkered flag, everybody held their line. Everybody not really experimenting with that middle groove yet. Kind of a diamond kind of shape so far everybody has chosen. Starting up high, working their way back down to the bottom on corner exit. That will do it for the Cleveland Grain non-wing micros for their hot laps. Coming up next, the Dirty Right Rear Podcast restricted micros, 11 entries for them tonight, so we should have 2 more hot lap sessions for them. Track crew's going to work in the racetrack just a little bit here in between those 2 groups. But leading them out for the Dirty Right Rear Podcast restricted micros will be the 31K. Be McKenna Crin, I believe, from Indianapolis, Indiana, showing us a 361K on My Race Pass. Also out there, the 29, a Forrest Holder from Maryland Heights, Missouri. Behind him in the red 79H will be Kinzer Halloway from Paris, Illinois. Also out there will be the 12K of Kylie Bates from Hillsboro, Missouri, as they work their way up into turns 3 and 4. Behind her, with the purple wing, will be the 11R of Riley Bonowitz from Oakland, Illinois. And also out there making up for this first Dirty Right Rear Podcast restricted micro session for the hot laps will be J.C. Stanridge from Springfield, Illinois in the 10. Green flags waving as they make their way down into turn 1. Control will go to McKenna Crin from Indianapolis, Indiana. See what she can do here on lap number 1. Looks a little rough down there on the entry to turns 3. But everybody's so far managing it pretty well. You already see Bonowitz has already been caught, and Bonowitz will go around up over the berm. Will stay green as she got off the racing surface relatively quickly. Will actually go to the caution as she tries to pull back down into the infield section. Make sure everybody is good. We're going to get just a couple laps here for the end of the first Dirty Right Rear Podcast restricted micro hot lap session. Green flags back in the air as they roll off of turn number 4 this time. Again, McKenna Crin in the control car as she rolls off turn number 4, bounces up on the exit of turn 4 pretty hard as that car looked pretty tight compared to those other cars off of turn number 4. Crin's car definitely bouncing much more than any other car out there so far as they come to the white flag. At 29, Forrest Holder looks much more smoother than Crin, but Crin's car definitely looks faster than these other 4 cars out on the racetrack right now as she comes across to the checker flag. Everybody comes back around to the checkered flag cleanly, and that will do it for the first Dirty Right Rear restricted micro hot lap session. Second one going to be coming up right after this one, after they get off the racetrack. Shouldn't be that many to make up this second session. And of course, after these, we will have the vintage sprint cars that will take their hot lap and qualifying combined session. Bonowitz getting a little bit of help getting refired before she makes the left-hand turn off of turn number 2 to get back to the pit area. Race control gave her the option if she wants to stay out, she can. But I think she's going to head back to the pit area. But in the meantime, Mackenzie Meany from Terre Haute, Indiana in the 10M is going to lead the second group out onto the racetrack. The 49 of Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois, and the 49 right behind her. Also out there, the 71M of Lydia May from Terre Haute, Indiana, along with the 17 of Cole Jones from Streeter, Illinois. The last car out there, the 5 of Caden Wells from Brazil, Indiana. We're green here on the second dirty right rear restricted micro hot lap session. Everybody smooth down into turn one so far, it looks like. Couple different ideas to corner entry. Both the 5 and the 17 trying that middle groove. Everybody else pretty much right down around the bottom of the racetrack over in the turns 1 and 2 side. And it looks like Lydia May's car looks a little bit loose down in the middle of the corner. See if she can get that car tightened up just a little bit after this session before we head out towards the heat racing. White flag waving as we make the way back to turns 1 and 2. As the checkered flag will fly, Lydia May is the control for that checkered flag as the rest of them come on through pretty cleanly. All of them looked relatively equal in speed out there in that second dirty right rear podcast restricted at micro hot lap session. Coming up next will be the throwback sprint cars for their qualifying and hot lap session. It's combined, but fortunately we do not, of course, for the teams down there, they don't know how their driver's going to do. We do have live timing working at least on the tower end, just unfortunately not on the My Race Pass end just yet. So we'll have to see what these vintage sprint cars can do in their one hot lap and qualifying session. Of course, just like the 305 sprint cars, no onboard starters, so they'll need to be push started. Which will take just a moment. It looks like they're going to run 3 cars in this session, 2 ones in the next. As I can see, they brought 2 of those cars to a stop down there on the track entrance. For these first 3 cars, the 31 of Dan Ingram from Indianapolis, Indiana, the furthest one up the racetrack. Behind him will be Scott Plewin from Hudsonville, Illinois. Different look for him this year. Was in a white car last year, now in a black and purple car this year. And finally, the third car out here, right here at the flag stand, going to be the 01L of Danny Pittman from Evansville, Indiana. And track crew will get the command to fire the engines for these throwback sprint cars. Looks like Pittman will get his car fired quickly. We'll see if Ingram can get the same for him. He can as well. Ingram will go on past. And now we'll have to get Scott Plew fired up down here over in turn 1. At 11, the final car to be fired here in this first hot lap qualifying session for the Midwest Throwback Sprint cars. And unlike the 305s, these cars do not have the wings on. These drivers going to be wheeling it as they come to the green flag. Flagman and the track crew looking for the OK signal from the drivers, making sure they feel comfortable with the engine heat they've built. As the Midwest Throwback Sprint cars, they'll go around maybe 1-2 more times here under pacing before they will unleash them on a hot lap and qualifying session. Just a couple more laps for the throwback sprint cars, it looks like. Just making sure everybody builds enough engine heat before they let them go. Flagman looking for the okay from the drivers once again. And it looks like he got it from Scott Plew, so they are ready to go here for the vintage sprint car qualifying session. We give them one more time around. We'll see which car is the control car. Scott Plew looking for the thumbs up once again. We're good to go. Caution lights are out. We're green. Here with control will go to Danny Pittman from Evansville, Indiana, as they roll down into turn one. Green flag will be waving as they come back around for their first time lapse. That car really tight as he headed off into turn 3 and 4 there. That'd be Danny Pittman. See if he gets the same story down here on the 1 and 2 end. No, he doesn't. A lot better turn ability for that car down on the 1 and 2 end. See if he gets that tightness again. He does on the entrance to turn 3. They'll allow Ingram to get alongside him and by on lap 1. We'll see if Ingram can get himself a good time here as finally on his white flag lap. I don't think he's going to get as good a time as he wanted to have as he'll come around to the checkered flag to bring in the first checkered flag for the throwback sprint cars. So just a quick green-white checkered session for these throwback sprint cars for their qualifying sessions. Just 2 more left to take their times. And they'll be waved out onto the racetrack. Brett Morley is going to be the lead driver for the 2 remaining. And here comes Brett Morley out onto the racing surface. Brett Morley from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Also out here will be Bobby Logan from Rantoul, Illinois. He's shown as the 2, but he is in the 8 car tonight. So track crew will get the command to fire up these vintage sprint cars. And they've been given the command, and they will get them push started. It will only be just a couple laps to build some engine heat. Once again, of course, no onboard starters, so they do require that assistance to get fired up. Once they have their engines fired, they're all ready to go. One of the special events here at Coles County Speedway is coming up at the end of the month on May 31st and the 30th. We'll have the King of Coles race as sponsored by Lakeland College. And of course, we'll bring the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota and PowerRide coming to put on a fantastic show as they normally do. As well, the WFO Micro Series will be here as well. It'll be a weekend of racing you don't want to miss here at Coles County Speedway. Sounds like the drivers are almost ready for their hot lap and qualifying sessions. A little bit more separation than that first group got. Of course, only 2 in this one, 3 in the other one. Our flagman, John Shipman, looking for the thumbs up from the drivers. Looks like Bobby Logan not ready just yet. And neither is Brett Morley. Brett Morley, nope, gave the thumbs up at the flag stand. So we'll give them one more lap to see if Bobby Logan changes his mind and thinks he's ready to go. Looks like Bobby Logan not ready this time either, so we'll give him one more time around, see if that decision changes. Tower's going to give them just a few more laps to make sure they're all ready to go. Brett Morley went up over the berm up at turn 3. So he'll need to push started again. He was ready to go. They've given him just a little bit too much throttle, and around he went. Looks like Morley's resetting his car, trying to see if he can get it refired. Yeah, looks like he will get it refired. He'll be good to go for this vintage sprint car qualifying session. Our flagman, John Shipman's going to wave them off into turn 1. At the very least, Brett Morley is ready to go. Bobby Logan will be waiting to receive the green flag as he comes off of turn 4 this time. Here he comes. Green flag will be waving. First time laps for the second group underway here for the Midwest Throwback Sprint Cars. Logan's car looking really tight down on corner entry. Just cannot carry any speed through the corners, it looks like. Brett Morley's much of a different story for him. His car looks pretty tight as well. So neither of these two drivers going to set down a time that they're going to like for the heat races later on. Checkered flags out for Morley. Logan has one more lap for him to go. He's really wheeling that car, trying to get it to turn there on corner entry. Just can't really get it to turn at all. Checkered flag is out for Bobby Logan. So it seems like it may have been a transponder issue of some sort on the 25 via Brett Morley, so he'll get 2 laps here. See if timing and scoring will pick him up. He'll roll his way back into turns 3 and 4, coming to the white flag this time. He'll work his way off turn number 4, and he'll take the checkered flag for the throwback sprint car sessions. Looks like maybe one more car down there in the pit area. It'd be one of the non-wing micros out there. This would be the Cleveland Grain non-wing micros, just one of them it looked like. It's the 1X of Seth Buell. He'll get the green as soon as he comes out onto the racetrack. He does have 2 cars now, the 2X and the 1X. So this is the 1X now he's practicing. White flag for Buell as he makes his way back into turn 1. He's from Charleston, Illinois. So that'll do it for the hot lap sessions for today. Coming up first for the heat races will be the junior sprints. It looks like they may not be ready just yet. So we're going to give them a little bit of time. So with the junior sprints down there and staging ready to go, we'd like to have everyone please rise and remove their caps for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, when you see by the dawn's early light, oh, so proudly we hailed at the twilight's gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular amongst birds singing a gay through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. Coming out here right away will be the high caliber graphic junior sprints for heat race number 1 of 2. Of course, there are 12 entries, 6 and 6 in the heat races for 8 laps. On the pole for heat race number 1, going to be Case Barnard from Dawson, Illinois in the 25B. Alongside him will be Presley Hall from Des Lodge, Missouri in the 25P. Also in third will be Joseph Bonowitz from Oakland, Illinois in the D52. Fourth will be Evan France from Lovington, Illinois in the 22F. Xander LaRose starts fifth from Festus, Missouri in the 1Z. And Brentley Hopper from Charleston, Illinois in the 95 starts in sixth. We're going to be coming right around to the green flag right here at the cone. Green flags waving on heat race number 1 for the high caliber graphic junior sprints into turn 1. Will go the 25B of Case Barnard to the lead. They're going to be 3 wide behind them as Bonowitz is falling back further back. We'll have Evan France on the inside for third. Xander LaRose on the outside trying to make that move stick into turn 1. Just about is going to be able to shut the door and make it work down there on the south end of the facility. Now single file is the field as the 25B of Case Barnard trying to hang on here as Presley Hall all over the rear bumper of the 25B. Xander LaRose coming into that battle for the lead as well as laps continue to wind down. They're up into lap traffic of the 95, Bentley Hopper. They'll all work around Hopper cleanly as now have the 1Z of Xander LaRose to the inside of Hall. Hall will get pushed up the racetrack just a little bit. And it will just about be up for second for the 1Z of Xander LaRose. Contact made down into turn 1 as he gets into Barnard just a little bit. As they're going to try that move again down on the exit of turn 4. He's going to point his nose down on the inside. Cannot quite make that move stick. And the leader will go around on the exit of turn number 2. Caution's out. Like it was just maybe kind of a tough racing incident. We'll have to see as I'm watching the live stream on a bit of a delay up here in the tower. See what happened there. Yeah, maybe just that little bit of kind of a racing incident that's be Xander LaRose got into the back end of Case Barnard. It was just a tough break for them as they exited turn number 2, just out a little bit too tight. Of course, just running out of room on the racetrack, and that's what happens. Race control's trying to get them back into their restarting order. Xander LaRose going to be the leader with 1 to go at the flag stand. Xander LaRose the leader. Behind him will be Presley Hall. Behind him back in third will be the 22F of Evan France. Joe Bonowitz and Case Barnard, the top 5. As they come back to the restart cone, green flags back in the air on the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint Heat Race at number 1. LaRose gets a great restart. It's going to get away from the 25B of Presley Hall. As the rest of them jockeying for positions for third, Joe Bonowitz goes through for third on Evan France, as Evan France still trying to get up to speed in that 22F. Field will be coming around to the white flag this time. White flag waving for Xander LaRose as they get single filed out now. That 25B trying to get the inside of France. France is going to shut the door as they head off into turn 1. But over in turn 4, Xander LaRose is going to come across to the checkered flag to win the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint Heat Race number 1. Second place will go to Presley Hall. Third will go to Joe Bonowitz. Fourth to Evan France. And fifth will go to Case Barnard. And the sixth place finisher, Bentley Hopper, in the 95. So LaRose will stop and get his picture taken by SRL Media and Designs, our racetrack photographer. Coming up next will be heat race number 2 for the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprints. Waiting down there at the track entrance will be that second heat race for these High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprints. Madison Meany from Terre Haute, Indiana, the 10M will be on the pole. Alongside her will be Grayson Graham from Bronco Hill, Illinois, in the 49. Starting in third for heat race number 2 will be Colton Vogel from Buffalo, Illinois, in the 14V. Starting in fourth will be Nolan Leone from Mahomet, Illinois, in the 57. And starting in fifth will be Carter Bates from Hillsboro, Missouri, in the 99K. And starting sixth will be Dylan Schaefer in the 42 from Charleston, Illinois. Your High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint heat race number 2 as they come out onto the racetrack. Looks like an issue for the 42 down there on the track entrance. They're trying to get the car pushed up to the track. And I don't think they're going to get that car out onto the racing surface in time. It looks like they will just about be able to get that 42 Dylan Schaefer out onto the racetrack. Field will come around. They'll get the 1-0 signal this time. Once again, the front row, Madison Meany, Grayson Graham. Behind them, Colton Vogel and Nolan Leone. And then Carter Bates, Dylan Schaefer on the last row. It'll be Madison Meany and Grayson Graham will bring the field up to the start cone up at turn number 4. And here they come. Green flags waving on the second High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint heat race into turn 1. The field will remain side by side. They'll get single filed out for the top 3. And just about the rest of them will get single filed out as they make their way down the backstretch. Madison Meany will lead lap number 1. Out back and forth, side by side for that position. Through will go Carter Bates. Coming back to the inside, Nolan Leone fighting back to try to take this spot away on the entrance. just about going to be able to do it as they split the lapped car 3 wide over in turn number 4. Still single file out front for the top 3. Madison Meany, the leader. Behind her will be Grayson Graham, Colton Vogel, as they work their way back into turn 1 and 2. Still that good battle going on for 4th out behind them. Carter Bates and Nolan Leone throwing sliders at each other back and forth on corner entrance and corner X. We'll see if Leone can get the crossover move off turn 4. This time he can't. Bates will keep the inside line as they head back to turn 1 and will hold on to 4th. Still single file goes the leaders as they get around the lap traffic. As they make their way back into turn 1, that lap traffic gets them separated just a little bit. And we'll see if Meany can hold on to her lead as she works her way back off of turn number 4 this time. She looks like she'll just about be able to do it. As these front 3 runners very equal in speed. Colton Vogel might be a little bit faster than Grayson Graham in front of him. Vogel going to try to look to the inside of Graham as they come to the white flag this time. One more shot for Vogel to take away second as they head down to turn 1. Vogel got the nose in. A little bit of contact made. No harm, no foul. They'll stay single file as Madison Meany will work her way off of turn number 4 and to the checkered flag on the second high caliber graphic junior sprint heat race. Second place will go to Grayson Graham. Third will go to Colton Vogel. 4th across the line will be the 99 of Carter Bates. 5th will be Nolan Leone. And 6th is Dylan Schaefer. Up next will be the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings for another 2 heat races. Two heat races for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings coming up. Again, 10 entries for 8 laps apiece. Danny Vicino on the pole from Terre Haute, Indiana in heat race number 1. Alongside him will be Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona in the 3. Larry Drake from Terre Haute, Indiana, the 97D starts in 3rd. Along him on the outside of row number 2 will be Tyler Taylor from Danville, Illinois in the 88T. Then back in 5th will be Dr. Dirt himself, Paul Day from Atwood, Illinois in the 90. Making another start here at Coles County Speedway tonight here on the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing. So they'll come out, they'll get the 1-to-go signal. As they roll on out, Danny Vicino leads them out. See if we can get these other drivers out here. Looks like we will. We'll see what Dr. Dirt can do from the tail end of the field. See if he can make up some ground on this very competitive first heat race. A lot of these guys definitely have the speed to take the feature later on tonight. But for now, Danny Vicino, Drew Sherman going to lead heat race number 1 for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings to the green. Down into turn 1, Sherman's going to fight along the outside of Vicino. They're going to stay side by side as they work off turn number 2. Still side by side for the lead as they head into turns number 3 and 4. Vicino on the inside, Sherman on the outside. Still at the line, they're even. Sherman around the outside trying to keep Vicino tight down to the bottom, not allowing him to get a groove. Maybe a little bit of contact on entry, but Drew Sherman's going to go on by for the lead into the lead of lap number 2. Now single file goes to the field here on the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing heat race number 1. As Drew Sherman going to see if he can have the pace to pull away from Danny Vicino, and so far it looks like he does. Larry Drake in tow behind them, not really finding any pace on the 21V of Danny Vicino out in front of him. Tyler Taylor trying to chase down Larry Drake himself for that final podium spot here in the first heat race for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings. Paul Day back there at the tail end of the field is trying to feel out his car. So he's trying to chase down the 4 front runners in front of him. Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona really pulling away from the field now. As laps wind down, looks like we have the scoreboard up and running here at Coles County Speedway. White flag coming this time for Drew Sherman across the stripe. Still single file, good separation for everybody. Almost a full straightaway separation for Drew Sherman as he'll come across to the checkered flag here in the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing heat race at number 1. Danny Vicino P2 across the stripe. Larry Drake in 3rd, 4th Tyler Taylor, and 5th Paul Day. So they pretty much finished how they started, with the exception of the leader. Of course, Vicino getting out-dueled by Sherman off the initial start. Coming up next will be heat race number 2 for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings. They'll come out right away to the one to go at the flag stand once again. Nate Kesper from New Lenox, Illinois in the 96 on the pole. Bruce Myers alongside him from Bethalo, Illinois in the 91M. Third will be Harrison Robards from Dardenne Prairie, Missouri in the 11R. Fourth will be Noah Mell from Fairland, Indiana in the 95M. And fifth will be Keaton Lyons from Centralia, Illinois in the 3X. This is your second heat race for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings. It'll be Kesper and Myers leading them up to the start cone up in turns 3 and 4. Green flags waving, as it'll be a great start for Casper as he heads into turn 1 and 2. Robards gets a great start himself. He's alongside for the lead as they keep off turn 2. Single file down the backstretch as Noah Mel's trying to get to the inside of Bruce Myers. He's trying to take that third spot away. He'll do it down on turns 1 and 2. Everybody now single files out as they head back into turns 3 and 4. Robards keeps hitting that berm just a little bit on entry. Upsets his number 11R just enough where he can't get close enough to the 96 to make a move for the lead. Nate Casper still out in front, pulling away from the field now as Harrison Robards isn't really reeling him in that much. He's trying his best, though, to bring him back to him. Try to contend for this heat race win as they come to the halfway mark in heat race number 2 for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings. Further on back, you see the 21 of Bruce Myers still trying to hold on as that 3X Keaton Lyons trying to work his way around, and both those cars just get really upset on corner entry, and they cannot chase each other down just enough at this point in time. We'll see if that changes as they come to 2 to go this time. Still out in front, the pole sitter, Nate Casper. Going to come around to the white flag this time for the second Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing heat race. He's had a pretty perfect race so far. Seeing if he can continue on this one as he rolls his way back into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. He'll lead flag to flag. It's Nate Casper who will take the second Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing heat race win. In second would be Harrison Robards. In second and third, Noah Mell. Fourth goes to Bruce Myers, who was just able to hold on as Keaton Lyons finishes in fifth as he wasn't able to just get past Myers in front of him. So that'll do it for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings. Up next will be the Dirty Right Rear Podcast Restricted Micros for another pair of heat races. Starting on the pole for heat race number 1 for the Dirty Right Rear Restricted Micros will be Kylie Bates from Hillsboro, Missouri in the 12K. Alongside Kylie will be Mackenzie Meany from Terre Haute, Indiana in the 10M. Starting in third will be Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois in the 49. Starting fourth will be McKenna Kren from Indianapolis, Indiana in the 361K. Starting in fifth will be Forrest Holder from Maryland Heights, Missouri in the 29. And starting back in sixth will be Kinzer Halloway from Paris, Illinois in the 79H. So again, this is your heat race number 1 for the Dirty Right Rear Restricted Micros. And as we're going to do it all night long, they get the one to go signal right as they come out of the pits so we can get the racing underway as quickly as we can. Once again, the front row, Kylie Bates, Mackenzie Meany as they head down into the restart cone. A little bit of a messy start here, but green flag's going to wave anyways as they work their way down into turn 1. It's a mess of cars, through almost 3 wide for the lead as Mackenzie Meany gets the worst of it. She'll drop back to fourth, and Chris already to her inside, working for that spot already. Corinne cannot quite stay alongside as they work off of turn number 4. She'll get back to the inside on entry to turn 1, and she'll get her as they work their way off of turn number 2. The leader gets tight right in the middle of the corner. It's a big overcorrection for Kylie Bates, and she'll fall back into second as that allows that number 49 of Grayson Graham to start pulling away from the field behind him. Single file out behind him. McKenna Kren gets to the inside of Forrest Holder now. Holder with nothing to defend up there on the top side. Those cars just look maybe a little bit too loose. Everybody is to run that top groove, or at least the middle groove, I should say. And now McKenna Grin already starting to work on the 12K of Kylie Bates already. Doing a little bit of a tap on the rear bumper, letting her know that she's there. As she'll have the 29 back to her inside in turns 3 and 4 again, but she'll clear on the high side. Back to the inside for second. Almost going to make a little bit of contact there. Left rear tire on the right front tire for McKenna Crin. She'll drop back to fourth. And we'll see if she can clear that 29 right away once again. Forrest Holders trying to now defend his top 3 spot here in this heat race. White flags waving, though, for Grayson Graham as he works his way back into turn 1. And now the field single files out here on the final lap as they come off of turn number 4. It will be Grayson Graham taking the dirty right rear restricted micro heat race number 1 win. Second will go to Kylie Bates. Third to Forrest Holder. Fourth to McKenna Crin. Fifth, Mackenzie Meany. And sixth will go to Kinzer Halloway. Up next, heat race number 2 for the dirty right rear restricted micros. Caden Wells from Brazil, Indiana in the 5 will sit on the pole. Alongside him will be the 11R of Riley Bonowitz from Oakland, Illinois. Third will be J.C. Stanridge from Springfield, Illinois in the 10. Fourth will be Cole Jones from Streeter, Illinois in the 17. And fifth will be Lydia May in the 71N from Terre Haute, Indiana. Here they come out onto the racetrack now. Your second dirty right rear restricted micro heat race as they work their way out onto the racing surface. Only 5 of them in this second heat race. Once again, that front row being made up of Caden Wells and Riley Bonowitz as they work their way up towards the start cone. And this one will be waved off. Contact for Lydia May up at the start. Red flag displayed as she'll go up and over. Track crew already on the scene for the second flip of the night. Track crew will get Lydia May righted, and we'll see if she doesn't have that bad of damage. She might be able to continue on. We'll see what the track crew makes the assessment here on that number 71M machine. Back to yellow flag on the facility. Drivers will get their cars back into their starting positions, and we'll see if the track crew is going to let Midiale get refired. She does get the car refired. Looks like she might be pretty good to continue on. That car doesn't look like it has too much damage to it. And we'll see as we'll watch the field get themselves rolling here. Cole Jones might need a little bit of help getting fired, it looks like, down there on the inside of turn 1. Sounds like he may want to be just pushed to the infield. See track crew pushing that number 17 further in. And he is going to stop right there. See if he can get some assistance getting the car fired. It's looking like no luck for Cole Jones. All right, so now with only 4 cars out, they have to restructure the field just a little bit. Lydia May will move to the inside as the caution lights will extinguish. It'll be once again Caden Wells on the front row. Alongside him this time will be J.C. Stanridge, then Lydia May and Riley Bonowitz. The 4 remaining that'll make the start of this second dirty right rear restricted micro heat race. We're back green as we head off down into turns 1 and 2. They get single file right away. Lydia May staying right there with them despite the flip on lap number 1, even before they even made it to the flag stand, as Riley Bonowitz will go for a spin up at the top of turn 3, and the caution will come back out. Caution lights will be going out right away with 7 laps to go here in the dirty right rear restricted micro heat race number 2. Restart order will be Caden Wells, the leader, JC Sandridge behind him, Lydia May, and Riley Bonowitz. Caden Wells goes to the bottom at the restart cone. We'll see when he hits the gas. He's on it. We're green back in the dirty right rear restricted micro heat race number 2. Single file goes the top 3 as they get themselves organized as they roll off of turn 2. Back into turns 3 and 4. May on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get a nose in on Stanridge. Stanridge up towards the middle part of the racetrack. Cannot get that car to turn down. That's going to allow Lydia May right up to the back bumper. Lydia May to the inside of turn 4. Still side by side. Back to 1 for second. Lydia May takes it away, and Lydia May will move through into second. Stanridge back to third. We'll see what kind of pace Lydia May has left in that number 71 M machine as she'll try to chase down the 5 of Caden Wells, as a caution will come out once again for Riley Bonowitz going for a spin up at the top of turn 3. So the 11 will head down into the infield after her second spin. Just this time at the halfway mark for the dirty right rear restricted micros, this time it'll be Caden Wells once again coming back to the green. Lydia May behind him, and then J.C. Stanridge back in third at the restart cone. Back at the bottom of the racetrack on the gas is Wells. Green flags waving once again here in the dirty right rear restricted micro heat race number 2. Stanridge doesn't have the pace to keep with the front runners. This time she'll drop back from them. Caden Wells, though, pulling away just a little bit from Lydia May there on the first lap after the restart, and that will continue on as Lydia May just does not quite have the pace to chase down Caden Wells in this heat race. 2 to go this time for Wells in that number 5. Now Stanridge trying to make up some ground on that middle lane, but white flags waving for Caden Wells. Everybody separated too much. It would take an incident for one car for somebody to gain any sort of positions as they come back off of turn number 4. Checkered flags waving for Caden Wells on the second dirty right rear restricted micro heat race. Lydia May in second, third, J.C. Stanridge. The non-finishers being Riley Bonowitz and Cole Jones. So that will do it for the dirty right rear restricted micros for their heat races for tonight. Up next will be the 305 sprint cars. Get only 3 of their entries tonight. And as I mentioned earlier on in tonight's running, these cars do not have onboard starters, so they're going to need to push started before they can get their heat race underway. They'll be pushed out onto the racetrack at the command of our flagman, John Shipman. They are, of course, pushed out by their own crews and then started on the racetrack by the track crew. So we're going to push these cars to get a little bit of separation, first of all, to get them started. And now we'll wait on the command from the tower to fire engines for these 305 sprint cars. So engines fired for the 305 sprint cars. We'll give them a few laps to build some engine heat, and then we'll bring them back together for their heat races. Heat race, I should say. Only one heat race for these guys. 8 laps for him. That 27 looks ready to go. It'll be Cody Warlisle. He'll get on past the 99 Jarrett Wynett. But on the pole will be Tyler Shoemaker in the 1T as he makes his way off into turn 1 from Clinton, Illinois. Again, alongside him will be the 27 of Cody Warlisle from Burlington, Iowa. Third will be Jarrett Wynett from Springfield, Illinois in the 99. These guys look like they're pretty much ready for the most part, so we'll bring them together. As they work their way off into turn 1, the leader of Tyler Shoemaker will have to wait on the 2 cars behind him to catch on up. He gives that outside groove over. So we'll come to 1 to go at the flag stand, and down in the pits, the junior sprint feature is ready to go on My Race Pass. That order is set, and the order is set out on the racetrack for the 305 sprint cars. It's again Tyler Shoemaker and Cody Warlisle, the front row for the heat race tonight for these 305 sprint cars. They'll work their way up to the start cone up at turn number 3. And they'll hit the gas as they come across it. Green flags waving. Great start there for the 27 of Cody Warlisle. Around the outside he goes, and to the lead goes the 27. Single file out behind him now as he'll pull away quickly from Shoemaker and Wynett. Wynett and Shoemaker are going to start coming together just a little bit. Wynett maybe just that little bit quicker, at least for that first lap. Up into the fence goes the one. Up and over he goes, and he'll end up on all 4s. But red flag will come out anyways. Just a tough break there for Shoemaker. He got down there up into turn 3 and got that little bit too tight, and up into the fence he went. Didn't go all the way over for Shoemaker, luckily. But still, tough break for him here early on. So with everybody stopped, once again, we'll have to get them refired. Shoemaker will get his car rolling. He's going to try to get it turned around without help, but it looks like he is going to need some. So track crew are going to get Shoemaker turned around before he can get anybody else refired. Shoemaker brings his car to the infield. We'll see if he makes a left turn or if he decides to go back to the pit area to inspect the damage he has. Nope, he'll stay on the racetrack for the restart for the 305 sprint cars heat race. Yellow flag back out on the facility. Everybody got to get refired by the track crew. The race leader, Cody Warlisle, going to wait just a second. He got his car reset, ready to be refired. He'll get a little bit of assistance here from the track crew, and he'll get refired. So Cody Warlisle will head up and lead the single file restart. Jarrett Wynett behind him, and then Tyler Shoemaker. Warlisle trying that inside groove just that little bit there on that quick little jaunt through turn 1 and 2 for the front runners. Yeah, Shoemaker will tag on in at the tail end of the field as they come to the 1 to go signal. Caution lights extinguished. We're headed green next time around. Once again, Cody Warlisle, the leader. Behind him, Jarrett Wynett and Tyler Shoemaker. Making up this 305 sprint car heat race. Up to the top of the racetrack will go Warlisle here for the first restart. And green flags back in the air on the 305 sprint car heat race. They're single file as they head through turns 1 and 2. Wynette going to try to hold on to his second place position on Tyler Shoemaker. Shoemaker goes that top side of the racetrack again. So he's trying to make that number 1T turn. He's definitely struggling just a little bit with the tightness of that race car. See if he stays up at the top of the racetrack this time. Definitely backing up the corner much more than he was on those first 2 laps is Tyler Shoemaker's. Really locking up the front tires, though. It's really tough on the front end of his race car. He just cannot get it to turn as well as he wants it to. Out in front with 3 laps to go, though, still that number 27, Cody Werlisle. So he's pulling away from them behind him. At 99, Jarrett Wynette starting to back up just a little bit to Tyler Shoemaker. Shoemaker starting to find his groove. Shoemaker's back up on the top of the racetrack. White flag waving this time to Cody Werlisle as he heads down into turn 1 for the last time here in this heat race. Rest of the field still single file way out behind him. Cody Werlisle up off at the end of turn number 4. Checkered flag is out for Werlisle here in the 305 sprint car heat race. Second place will go to Jarrett Wynette, and Tyler Shoemaker, the pole sitter, will finish in third. That'll do it for the 305 sprint cars. Up next, the Cleveland Grain non-wing micros. So the sprint car of Cody Werlisle will get his photo taken once again by our own SRL Designs Media. He'll get it refired as he comes off the racetrack. He'll make the left-hand turn early. Doesn't go all the way around the racetrack this time. Up first in the first Cleveland Grain non-wing micro heat race will be Lucas Easton from Tuscola, Illinois, in the 1 leading him to the green. Alongside him will be Danny Vicino from Terre Haute, Indiana, in the 21V. Inside row number 2 will be Andrew Morgan from Greencastle, Indiana, in the 18M. Outside row number 2, Harrison Robards, Starting Prairie, Missouri, in the 11R. Fifth will be Danny Hayes from Charleston, Illinois, in the 211. Alongside him will be Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona, in the 3. Starting in 7th is Dustin Galbraith from Charleston, Illinois, in the 38. Looks like, unfortunately, tough break for Dustin Galbraith. They could not get that car fixed in time, as the track will stay yellow for now. So they're going to wait on him, give him just a moment. The field will come to 1 to go here at the flag stand, as they are definitely taking their time as they roll back off of turn number 4 here under pacing. One to go signal given for these Cleveland Grain non-wing micros. They'll head down the backstretch once again. Lucas Easton, Danny Vicino, the front row, as they head up towards the start cone in turns 3 and 4. It's taking their time, slower pace than you would typically see. And green flags will waving. It'll be a great start for Vicino, who's going to take the lead easily by the time they get down to turn 1. Easton's car just not going at all, and now it's stalled. It is completely stalled out on the exit of turn number 2. Caution's going to come out. We're going to see if they let them get around. They're going to complete 1 lap under green. And the caution will come out for Lucas Easton's car, completely stalling there on the exit of turn number 2. Definitely frustrated was Easton behind the wheel of that number 14. That's not what he wanted to have happen here in this first Cleveland Grain non-wing micro heat race. Still has it rolling, but he is going to pull it down into the infield, and I believe his heat race is going to be done here before it even really got started. 1 to go given. We'll be going right away once again. Danny Vicino, the leader. Behind him, Harrison Robards, Drew Sherman. As Drew Sherman had himself a great restart. Vicino on the gas early, and we're green here on the Cleveland Grain non-wing micro heat race number 1. Sherman to the inside of Harrison Robards on the entry to turns 3 and 4. He's trying to get the nose in on Vicino as well. Vicino shuts the door, and that's going to force the number 3 of Drew Sherman back in line and into third. That's a tight race for the lead as they work their way back into turns 3 and 4. Robards on the outside of Vicino trying to make that move stick. Doesn't work down there on that end of the track. And round goes the leader, Vicino, up into the air, and he'll end upside down up in turn 2. The red flag is displayed as you just had 3 cars under a blanket and nowhere to go up in turn number 1. And that ends very badly for race leader Danny Vicino. So track crew already getting that Vicino car righted. We'll see if he does not have that much damage. He should continue on. He's checking his steering down there over in turn 2. So Vicino's car rolling once again here on the front stretch. He's going to pull it down to the infield, see if he decides just to tack on at the tail of the field or if he makes another left-hand turn. Looks like he will continue on here in this first Cleveland Gray non-wing micro heat race. His yellow flag comes back out on the speedway. Looks like Drew Sherman might need a little help. Nope, he gets it fired. So by the last time they were at the timing line, Harrison Robards is going to be the leader. Behind him will be the 3 of Drew Sherman. Vicino's car coming to a stop once again here at the flag stand. He's trying to get it refired now. Looks like Vicino might need a little bit of a push to get his car refired. It's going to take just a second here. We'll see if Vicino's car can get refired by the track crew. I'm starting to see not any luck for Danny Vicino. And he'll make the left turn into the infield. His race is over. Went from the lead to out after the first incident of this first Cleveland Gray non-wing micro heat race. Caution lights are out for Harrison Robards. So he works his way back into turn 2. He'll come around to this restart code. Behind him, Drew Sherman. We'll see if Sherman can find the pace to get around Harrison Robards as they come through the restart cone. Green flags back in the air on the Cleveland Gray non-wing micro heat race number 1. Around the outside of the 211 of Danny Hayes trying that outside groove out. Andrew Morgan fading back behind them. Up into the ear goes the front tires of Danny Hayes trying to get that car sticking to the racetrack. He's definitely struggling out there so far. But out in front, still Drew Sherman, Harrison Robards at a tight battle as Andrew Morgan pulls off the racetrack with 3 to go. His race is over as well. Just 3 cars left out there. Harrison Robards is making that middle groove work as Drew Sherman gets to the inside once again in the middle of the corner. Doesn't quite get that move to stick off the exit of the corner, though. Now Robards down at the bottom of the racetrack on turns 1 and 2. Still working that middle groove. Contact between the front runners. White flags in the air this time. They're going to be having one more shot for Drew Sherman into turns 3 and 4. Robards in the middle. It's going to be a drag race off of turn number 4 at the line. It's Harrison Robards taking the win here in heat race number 1 for the Cleveland Gray non-wing micros. Drew Sherman coming up just short of time. And we'll finish in a second. Third will go to the 211 of Danny Hayes. And the non-finishers will be Andrew Morgan, Danny Vicino, and Lucas Easton. And Dustin Galbraith did not make the start of heat race number 1 for the Cleveland Grain non-wing micros. Up next, heat race number 2 for the Cleveland Grain non-wing micros. Keaton Lyons from Centralia, Illinois, in the 3X on the pole. Alongside him will be Nolan Bartley from Hammond, Illinois, in the 7F. J.R. Carter from Charleston, Illinois, in the 456 will start in 3rd. Seth Buell in the 2X from Charleston, Illinois, as well, will start in 4th. Clay Frederick inside row number 3 from St. Joseph, Illinois, in the 47, and Parker Buff rounding out the field in the 51B from Farland, Indiana, in the 6th and final starting position of heat race number 2. Field coming to the one to go signal as they come out right onto the racetrack. And the caution lights are out for Cleveland Grain non-wing micros heat number 2. Already troubles for Clay Frederick. Off into the infield he goes. He's trying to reset his car, but it evidently will not fire. And he will miss the start of this heat race. But for now, the front row makes their way through the start cone. Green flags in the air. Great start for Nolan Bartley as he works off into turn number 1. Still side by side goes the field out behind them as they work off of turn number 2. Parker Bupp tries to get to the inside of a fading Keaton Lyons as he's trying to make his car finally get up to pace just a little bit. Bupp looking to the inside of turn 3 of Lyons. He'll get there alongside. Lyons tried to cut back down but just did not make that move sick. And I can see that Seth Buell is out in his 1X car instead of the 2X out at the tail end of the field. Bartley still leading the way for the second Cleveland Grain non-wing micros heat race. 456 in second as a caution flag will come out for Keaton Lyons. Stopped at the top of turn 4. May have caught the fence, and he is trying to get his car refired, but evidently I believe something in the steering is broke for that number 3. Tough break for Keaton Lyons. His race is over. Took a pretty hard impact there to the outside wall off of turn number 4. Track crew's checking him over now. We're going to go red flag here on the speedway as track crews tend to Keaton Lyons. And he'll climb out of the race car under his own power. It looks like great sign to see from Keaton. So Keaton Lyons will head back to the pit area with the Coles County Speedway safety crew. They'll check him out a little bit further, and we'll get back to racing. And hopefully he's okay, and hopefully he can get his car fixed, and we'll see him back on out later in the feature. It's a tough break for him. Something broke definitely in the steering for Keaton Lyons from Centralia, Illinois, and we hope to see him back on the racetrack later on tonight. During this red flag, track crew will also push Clay Frederick's car out of the infield and back to the pit area. And attention in the pits, attention in the pits. This is a reminder to the junior sprints. Your feature is before intermission. This is a reminder to your junior sprints that your feature is before intermission. So the track crew will get Keaton Lyons' car off the racetrack, and as soon as that car is off, we'll go back to yellow flag conditions on the speedway. And with Lyons' car back in the pit area, yellow flag conditions back out on the speedway here in the second Cleveland Gray non-wing micros heat race. Nolan Bartley going to be leading them back to green with 5 laps to go. Behind him will be J.R. Carter. And third will be Parker Bupp. And fourth will be Seth Buell. Caution lights are out. This time, Nolan Bartley will decide where he wants to go for the restart. As he comes up towards the restart cone, he'll head up towards the middle part of the racetrack this time. And at the restart cone, green flags waving for the second heat race for the Cleveland Gray non-wing micros heat race. Nolan Bartley going to get a great restart, pulls away from the 2 cars, battle behind him as Parker Bupp easily clears that 456 with J.R. Carter as they roll off into turn 3 and 4. Parker Bupp now can see if he can have any pace to chase down the number 7F out in front of him of Nolan Bartley. Seth Buell to the inside for third, trying to take that spot away of J.R. Carter is going to continue to defend, at least for now, for the most part. Buell to the inside with 2 laps to go, still looking for third, back over in turns 1 and 2. Now they'll get single file. Buell back to the inside of turns 3 and 4, throws the slider. Crossover move will come from Carter as they come around to the white flag, but it's not enough as over in turn number 4, it's that 7F and Nolan Bartley taking the checkered flag on the second Cleveland Gray non-wing micro heat race. Parker Bupp finishes in second. Seth Buell finishes in a third. Fourth will go to J.R. Carter. The 2 non-finishers of Keaton Lyons and Clay Frederick, who did not make the start. Up next will be the throwback sprint cars for their pair of heat races. Noah Bartley getting his picture taken down there in the infield for his heat race win. And with them on the off the racetrack, this will allow the vintage sprint cars out onto the racetrack for heat race number 1. Now, how this lineup was set is it's the first, second, and third qualifier, or first, third, and fifth qualifiers will be in heat race number 1. Second and fourth in qualifying will start in heat race number 2. So on the pole will be Scott Plew in that number 11 from Hudsonville, Illinois. And second will be Brent Morley from Melbourne, Australia in the 25V. Starting in third will be Bobby Logan from Rantoul, Illinois in the 2. On the racetrack, he's in the 8. On my race pass, he's shown as the 2. The command to fire engines has been given by the tower, and the drivers will be push started as they roll off into turn 1. Once again, because there are no onboard starters for these vintage sprint cars, going to give them just a few laps to build some engine heat before we can unleash them for heat race number 1. Field's ready to go. They'll come around to the when to go signal this time by. Caution lights are out for the vintage sprint car heat race number 1. Once again, Scott Blue, Brent Morley, the front row, Bobby Logan behind them as they come to the start cone. Through the cone they go. Green flags in the air for heat race number 1 of the vintage sprint cars. Right away, Scott Blue gets some single file out in front. Brent Morley trying that high side out already up on the berm. See what he can do on that north side of the facility. He's really just about clipping that berm just perfectly. Is Brent Morley, looks like Blue might be just a little bit too low than preferred. Morley up over the berm in the infield. He'll keep his second place for now, though, as Bobby Logan just does not have any pace to that number 8 machine back at the tail of the field. He's still wheeling it, trying to get that car to turn. His adjustment definitely went better than his hot lap session, but his car's still not turning the way he wants it. Coming to halfway this time for Scott Blue. Morley way up on the racetrack, just about able to whoa his car up. Almost goes for the spin, but keeps his car headed in the right direction. We stay green. Morley still holding on to that second spot for now. That top side, definitely a slippy part of the racetrack on entry for these vintage sprint car drivers. Let's see if they can make it stick. 2 to go this time for Scott Blue as he crosses the stripe. Morley still not getting off that top part of the racetrack, making it work. But the pace just is not there to keep up with Scott Blue, the leader, as he'll come to the white flag this time, half a lap ahead. Blue off of turn number 2 for the final time and into turns 3 and 4. He'll take this win easily. Flag to flag victory for Scott Blue from Hudsonville, Illinois in heat race number 1 for the vintage sprint cars. Morley across the line in second to be Brent Morley. And finishing in third, Bobby Logan. Field finished as they started here at heat race number 1. Heat race number 2 for the vintage sprint cars coming out here shortly after Scott Blue gets his picture taken. So the second heat race for the vintage sprint cars will get waved on to the racetrack shortly. Track crew already waiting for them down here at the start of the racetrack. Second heat race of the vintage sprint cars being pushed out onto the racetrack by their crews. They will pull up to a spot where the track crews can get to them easily. And then they'll get the command to fire engines. Track crew waiting on the command from the tower. And the command has been given. Engine's going to be fired for the second heat race for the vintage sprint cars. As they roll off. Ingram gets his car fired right away. Pittman taking a little bit of extra time, but he'll get his fired as well. Dan Ingram on the pole for heat race number 2 of the vintage sprint cars from Indianapolis, Indiana in that 31. Danny Pittman from Evansville, Indiana in the All-Indiana heat race will start alongside him in the 01L. So they're going to give them a couple laps, make sure they build good enough engine heat to go racing. And we will get them underway. They're already ready to go. Both the drivers gave their okays, and they've been given the one-to-go signal. They head off into turn number 1. Off of turn number 2, Dan Ingram and Danny Pittman, the 2 drivers for heat race number 2 for the vintage sprint cars, going to come up to the start cone. And here they go. Ingram's on the gas. We're green here in heat race number 2 for the vintage sprint cars. Ingram with a great start gets away from Danny Pittman right away. And Dan Ingram going to try to make his car work down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Pittman trying that top groove. See if he finds any more pace that Ingram doesn't have up there, as he definitely looks faster. Just can't get the throttle down as that 0-1 of Danny Pittman. As Dan Ingram able to really get the throttle down, and that number 31 machine much better than Pittman behind him. As they come around to 5 to go at the stripe this time by. Ingram definitely extending his lead out on the 01L of Danny Pittman. Pittman was way up the racetrack up at turn 1 that time. Up on the Coles Cush goes the entire field. Just past the halfway mark goes Dan Ingram. Ingram still using that top side, has been the groove so far all night long for the sprint cars, not even just the vintage, the normal sprint cars as well, loving that top side right up on the Coles Cush. 2 to go this time, coming to the white flag for Dan Ingram here in the second vintage sprint car heat race. Ingram using that high side as he works his way off of turn number 2 and into turns 3 and 4. Dan Ingram will lead flag to flag here on heat race number 2 for the vintage sprint cars. Danny Pittman will finish in second. That'll do it for the heat racing tonight, but coming up next, just before intermission, it's the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprints feature. It'll be a 15-lap feature for the 12 junior sprints tonight. They're down there already ready at track entrance. On the pole, Xander LaRose from Festus, Missouri in the 1Z. Madison Meany alongside him in the 10M from Terre Haute, Indiana. Presley Hall from Deslaws, Missouri in the 25P starts third. Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois in the 49 starts in fourth. Rounding out the top 5 will be Colton Vogel from Buffalo, Illinois in the 14V. Starting 6th will be Carter Bates from Hillsboro, Missouri in the 99K. In 7th will be Case Barnard from Dawson, Illinois in the 25B. 8th will be Oakland, Illinois' Joe Bonowitz in the D52. 9th will be Evan France from Lovington, Illinois in the 22F. And rounding out the top 10 will be Nolan Leone from Mahomet, Illinois in the 57. Starting in 11th on the final row will be Brentley Hopper from Charleston, Illinois in the 95. And 12th will be Dylan Shaver from Charleston, Illinois as well in the 42. Seeing your High Caliber Graphics Junior Sprints feature for 15 laps coming up very shortly. And attention to the pits, junior sprint feature happening right now. If you're not down there, we are ready to go for a junior sprint feature. Flagman's going to wave these junior sprints out onto the racetrack for the first feature of the night. We'll likely take, we'll probably say 2 pace laps. I don't think we're going to be organized enough here on the first time out to give them the one to go right away. Going to be pretty close to being organized, though. We're good. We're going to get the one to go signal already. We're going green next time by. Once again, the front row, Xander LaRose and Madison Meany going to lead the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprints to the green. Here they come. Green flags waving for the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint feature into turn 1. Madison Meany gets pushed up the racetrack by the 49 of Presley Hall, or excuse me, Grayson Graham. That's not a good restart there for Presley Halls. They fade further back into the pack. The field trying to work their way through. Up into the top of the cushion will be Hall. After a little bit of contact in the mid-pack, she'll fade back almost to Evan France back there outside the top 10. Still single file are the leaders as they work their way up into lap traffic for the first time. Xander LaRose holding on to that lead over the 49 of Grayson Graham so far. They managed, the front two at least managed lap traffic pretty well so far. Madison Meany gets through as well. Excuse me, Madison Meany gets through, holding on to third for now. Vogel in fourth. You'll have the 4 front runners, and then back in fifth will be the 25B of Case Barnard. All the way back from 7th and is rolling through this field relatively quickly, but I don't think he's got the pace to run down these front 4 runners. Vogel now all over the back bumper of Meany. Over, going to try the outside groove is Colton Vogel. It's typically not a groove you see work too often here in these junior sprints. He'll get the crossover move. He's going to try to take the spot away. By the time they get down to 1, he'll just about do it. Madison Meany cannot defend from such a great move from Colton Vogel. He'll make his way up to third. Still the 2 front runners, Xander LaRose and Grayson Graham, still working their way back through lap traffic. They've caught Evan France out at the tail end of the top 10. France will get to the middle part of the racetrack as the leaders go to the inside. Vogel still trying to chase them down. Now to the inside for the lead. Grayson Graham going to clear them, make the move work up in turns 3 and 4. He's going to pull away from Xander LaRose right away. LaRose going to have to try to sit back in line, see if he can chase back down that number 49 Machina Graham with 5 laps to go as they hit the stripe this time. Vogel still chasing them both down in third. Vogel could get a late race restart. He could have a shot to take this feature win himself, but time is running out as now Xander LaRose into lap traffic as well with that number 49 of Grayson Graham. They're going to try to make that move stick back down into turn 1. LaRose gets the nose in. Contacts made between the front 2. No harm, no foul. Just a little bit of hard racing between LaRose and Graham as Graham holds on to that lead with 3 laps to go at the stripe. Graham going to have to work through lap traffic at least one more time. It looks like this may be the last lap cars he's going to catch. He's going to have to split them 3 wide in the middle. LaRose going to have to probably do the same as he works his way up into turn 2. That gap increasing, though, with 2 laps to go for Grayson Graham. Vogel makes a little bit of contact with one of the lap's cars. Caution's not going to come out. We'll stay green. White flags waving for the number 49 of Grayson Graham as he works his way off into turn number 2 for the final time with a couple car lengths advantage. He'll work his way off of turn number 4 now, and Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois, is going to take the High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint Heat Rate feature win here tonight at Coles County Speedway. Great win for Grayson Graham, going from 4th to 1st over the duration of this feature. And Grayson Graham going to have to go over the scales first, or it looks like actually the scales might be down tonight, but he'll head into victory lane tonight as a winner here at Coles County Speedway. Xander LaRose in the 1Z in second. Third went to Colton Vogel. Fourth went to Madison Meany. And fifth went to the 25B of Case Barnard. And into victory lane goes the 49 of Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois, the first feature winner of the night. And he's out of the car. Let's give a big round of applause to Grayson Graham, your High Caliber Graphic Junior Sprint feature winner from Bunker Hill, Illinois. What a great win for him. 4th to 1st in the feature, picking up the feature win. So with the high caliber graphic junior sprint feature done, we will now head to our intermission. We're going to do a little bit of track work, and we're also going to have a little bit of a special intermission with the American Flat Track Motorcycle Superstar Dallas Daniels down on the racetrack here shortly. We'll be right back after intermission. On the racetrack now, Dallas Daniels from Mattoon, Illinois, right here in Coles County. Now taking a couple laps here. The American Flat Track Superstar that he is. Two-time singles champion in the American Flat Track Series. He's making that middle groove work just like all of our micro sprint drivers so far tonight. Laid down some pretty quick laps so far, the American Flat Track two-time singles champion.
Back you up a little bit. We'll get some pictures of it.
Well, Dallas, you had yourself a good couple laps there. What was your first experience like on this historic facility?
I was just telling Brian, usually tracks, when this thing looks a little smaller, they ride even smaller, but man, it's actually a lot of fun. I would just keep doing laps if he'd let me, but don't want to hold up the show. But super cool. I just wanted to come out here and give people a little taste of what flat track is, and hopefully Brian and I can work together and bring motorcycles out here and have something else that fans can watch. It's super cool, and so is car racing. So just more people that can watch racing. That's what we're looking for.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming out here tonight. It was great to see you out here, and hopefully we can see you guys back here for maybe an American Flat Track motorcycle event, right?
Yeah, American Flat Track schedule, yep.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Dallas.
Attention in the pit area, attention in the pit area. There has been a change in the restrictor feature lineup. Again, there has been a change in the restrictor feature lineup. It is now correct on my race pass. Make sure you refresh it. There has been a change in the restricted feature lineup.
So intermission track prep is complete at the Speedway. We're going to be getting underway with the throwback sprint cars here shortly for a 20-lap feature. So correction, it'll actually be a 15-lap feature, not a 20, for the vintage sprint cars. Just now waiting on the command of fire engines from the tower. The command has been given. The vintage sprint cars are getting their engines fired by the track crew. 5 vintage sprint cars up for the feature tonight. Dan Ingram from Indianapolis, Indiana in the 31 over there in turn number 2, going to be on the pole. Alongside him will be Scott Plew in the 11 from Hudsonville, Illinois. Starting in third will be Danny Pittman from Evansville, Indiana in the 01L. Starting fourth will be Brent Morley from Melbourne, Australia in the 25V. And starting in fifth in the final starting position will be Bobby Logan from Rantoul, Illinois in the 8. This is once again your Midwest Throwback Sprint Car feature. Give them a few laps to get their engines up to heat before we can get them ready to go as they come up to single file now. The driver's seat bike, they're mostly ready for the most part. Just allowing that number 8 machine to come back up to the tail end of the field. He's dropping a ton of fluid on the racetrack now. This will have to go into a delay. Definitely saw a ton of fluid pouring out of the car near the fuel cell area. And I can see a ton of fluid on the racetrack here on the front stretch. Definitely fluid still pouring out from underneath the number 8 as he rolls back over to turn 1. So track crew is going to bring that 8 to a stop. Take a look at it. That's Bobby Logan's car coming to a stop on the back stretch. So this car is definitely dropping a ton of fluid out on the racetrack. So Bobby Logan's car now pushed into the infield. It's going to likely not going to continue on in the feature. So Tower just gave me confirmation they're going to do a quick hot lap yellow on the backstretch. Dan Ingram is the control car. They're doing it on the backstretch only, as they worked in a little bit of a line they saw back there. Field's going to double back up as they head off into turn number 3. And Bobby Logan will not be with them at the start. Once again, 15 laps for the vintage sprint cars. They're going to go around one more time as they get Bobby Logan's car off the racing area. That car is definitely still dropping some fluid. You can see it down there in the infield of the racetrack. Flagman's waiting on the one-to-go signal from the tower. They're going to get it this time by at the flag stand. One to go for the vintage sprint cars. Here for their 15-lap feature. Once again, Dan Ingram on the pole. Scott Plew alongside him. Danny Pittman, Brent Morley out in row number 2. Bobby Logan with some sort of issue with his car dropping fluid out of the race before it starts. And Dan Ingram will bring them up to the start cone. Green flags waving on the throwback sprint car feature. Dan Ingram's going to get passed right away by Scott Plew, throwing the slider down the inside of turns 1 and 2. Scott Plew looking like he wants to lead lap number 1. Does Dan Ingram make a move back? No, he doesn't. Scott Plew leads lap number 1. Up on the high side of turn 2, the Coles Cush not as big of an effect now after the intermission, but everybody's still going to that middle to high side groove. Pittman all the way up next to the wall on entry up at turn number 4. He's sticking down on the bottom, though. Other than that, all the way around the racetrack. Single file is the field. Scott Plew pulling away from Dan Ingram and Brent Morley as Morley's starting to close in on the back bumper of Dan Ingram. Ingram slides just a little bit on the exit of turn 2. Morley does the same as well. It could have been a great opportunity there for Brent Morley. Now Brent Morley slow on the exits of every corner. Was slow on the exit of 2. Ingram gets sideways again. The car is stalled. He wants a yellow flag displayed. His car definitely isn't running. Or maybe no, his car definitely stayed running. He's still waving for a yellow. His car obviously with a mechanical issue of some sort slow up at the top of turn 2. He's waving anybody who passed him down to the bottom. He'll wave himself down to the bottom of the racetrack. And he will be down in the infield. And who's off just far enough not to be a caution as we come to 8 to go. This will allow the leader, Scott Plew, to get way away out in front. As behind him, Brent Morley and Danny Pittman do battle for the second spot. Brent Morley starting to pull a couple car lengths now on Pittman for second. Of course, almost half a lap now advantage for Scott Plew as he crosses the stripe with 6 to go. Pittman sideways off turn number 4, gathers it up before he gets down there to turn 1. Just about able to hold on to that one, but the gap grows ever bigger as they come to 5 to go this time for second. Scott Plew leading the way up there at the top side of the racetrack with coming to 4 to go this time. Brent Morley right behind him in at second, and then Danny Pittman in third as they work their way back to turn 1. Off of turn 4 comes the leader, Scott Plew. 3 to go this time for that number 11. Got the move done early with Scott Plew as he's going to come around to 2 to go this time. Since then, he's led flag to flag for that number 11 machine. Started in second, but has led every single lap up to this point. Looking to do it, just needs to come around one more time as Pittman sideways on the front stretch. White flags waving for Scott Plew, still ripping the top side up at turns 1 and 2. He's over half a lap ahead now of the rest of the field as he rolls his way through turns 3 and 4. Scott Blue takes the throwback sprint car feature win at Coles County Speedway. Checkered flag waving for Brett Morley as he crosses the stripe, and Danny Pittman rolling off in third. Of course, your winner, Scott Blue, that number 11 on the front stretch here in the vintage sprint car feature. Second went to Brett Morley. Third to Danny Pittman. Fourth went to Dan Ingram, and Bobby Logan, the other non-finisher, in fifth. So Scott Blue will make the left-hand turn into Coles County Speedway victory lane, taking another feature win here at Coles County Speedway. Here he comes, Scott Blue, climbing out of the race car, your vintage sprint car feature winner tonight here at Coles County Speedway. It's his first feature win of the year here at Coles County Speedway, making it count with a lap 1 pass for the lead and then going flag to flag. Scott Blue from Hudsonville, Illinois, the vintage sprint car feature winner. So Scott Blue makes his way off the racetrack, a feature winner here at Coles County Speedway. That's going to make way for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wings for their 15-lap feature. On the pole is going to be Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona in the 3. Nate Casper from New Lenox, Illinois in the 96 starts second. Harrison Robards from Darnay Prairie, Missouri in the 11R starts third. Danny Vicino from Terre Haute, Indiana in the 21B starts in fourth. Noah Mell in the 95M from Fairland, Indiana starts fifth. Larry Drake from Terre Haute, Indiana in the 97 starts in sixth. Tyler Taylor from Danville, Illinois in the 88T starts seventh, with Bryce Myers from Buffalo, Illinois in the 21M starting in eighth. Then in ninth is Dr. Dern himself, Paul Day from Atwood, Illinois, the number 90, starting in ninth. Then rounding out the field in the 10th and final starting spot is Keaton Lyons from Centralia, Illinois, in the 3X. Once again, your Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing feature field. So it looks like Keaton Lyons, after his accident earlier today in the heat race, is not going to come back out onto the racetrack for the feature. So this will be your field. It's a 9-car field for the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing feature. 1 to go coming at the flag stand this time by. And as I mentioned during the heat races, we had a very stacked heat race number 1. Stacked of a lot of cars that potentially could win this heat race. And that's why you see a couple of these cars, like Larry Drake himself, very fast here at the Speedway. He finds himself back on the outside of row number 3. So a lot of the good cars are going to have to come through traffic to see if they can fight their way for the win. But for now, it will be Drew Sherman and Nate Casper, the front row, as they roll towards the start cone up at turn number 4. They're waiting on the flagman now at the cone. Green flags waving. We're green on the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing feature. Drew Sherman, good start initially as they're 3 wide behind him. The front 2 get single file. Everyone else behind them battling it out for position. Noah Mills sideways, 3, 4 wide off of turn number 4. They get it all sorted out as they're 2 wide back to 1. Everybody's trying to stay calm for now. Noah Mel in the inside of Danny Vicino. Now Larry Drake, Tyler Taylor as one car goes for a spin up at the top of turn number 4. No caution as he keeps it rolling. We stay green. And the field now trying to single file out. Tyler Taylor to the inside of Vicino once again. Caution's going to come back out once again. The 21M Bryce Myers. Evidently something was broken on that car. And he will go for a spin again up at the top of turn number 2. So after that start, everybody can now calm down just a little bit as they will restart single file. As the top 5 come back around on the restart, it'll be Drew Sherman leading the back to green. Behind him, Nate Casper. In third, Harrison Robards. Fourth will be Noah Mel. Fifth, Danny Vicino. Sixth, Tyler Taylor. Seventh, Larry Drake. And eighth will be Paul Day. Ninth, coming back out on the racetrack, will be Bryce Myers. So everybody will continue on. 1 to go at the flag stand this time by. Those fast cars are already starting to make their way forward. We've seen Larry Drake trying to himself making quite a few moves. Tyler Taylor trying to make his way forward as well. 1 to go signal has been given. They're going to come back to green with 13 laps to go for Drew Sherman as he'll lead the field up towards the middle part of the racetrack, not going all the way up to the wall. He'll look for the restart cone, and he'll dive at it. We're back green on the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing feature. Larry Drake up over the berm just a little bit on the restart. He'll get it all sorted out. Paul Day's trying to settle it out right behind him. Field single file through 1 and 2. Jasper sideways up at the top of turn number 4. Noah Mel goes on by as he'll go through for second. Fourth to second on the restart. Harrison Robards slowing just a little bit as he takes his entry into turns 3 and 4. Still a great battle there for about 6 on back. The field trying to manage it out. Nate Jasper, evidently something very wrong with that race car. He is fading further back into the pack as the laps continue to wind down to 10 laps to go for Drew Sherman. As the top 3 still single file. Tyler Taylor will finally work past Danny Vicino for the 4th spot. Now they're single file. The cone gets hit, and the caution will come out for debris. Not entirely sure which car hit the cone, but the cone is a casualty in this feature race. Tough break for the cone, as it will have to be picked up and replaced back into the restarting position for this Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing feature. More debris being picked up there at the top of the racetrack, up at turn 4. Thankfully, the cone will be able to continue on in this feature. That's great to see. Not too much damage for that cone. We'll see us continue on with the restart cone with 9 laps to go. Drew Sherman going to be the leader on the restart as track crew looking over the 21M machine once again, Bryce Myers' car. He'll continue, it looks like. Noah Mel restarting in second, right behind Drew Sherman, who's going to be the leader. Harrison Robards right behind them in third. Tyler Taylor, 4th. 5th, Danny Vicino. 6th, Larry Drake. 7th, Nate Casper. They roll off into turn 1. Caution lights extinguish. 8th will be Paul Day. 9th, Bryce Myers. It'll be 9 laps to go for Drew Sherman. Noah Mel giving a little bit of a gap here, seeing what he can do on the restart. Harrison Robards wants him to get way closer. He does finally as they come to the cone. Drew Sherman waits on him. It was a great idea there from Drew Sherman. Contact further back in the pack, but we're green once again on the Spartan Transportation A-Class wing feature. Tyler Taylor getting 2 tires up in the air on the berm up at turn 2. Side by side for the third spot between Taylor and Robards as they work their way back to 1. Top 5, top 7 single file as the entire field now goes single file off turn 4 again. Tyler Taylor clipping that berm. Gets those front tires in the air. Harrison Robards cannot quite take enough of an advantage for it. And they'll stay single file for now and hold their positions. Robards going to try to make another shot here on the top side of 1 and 2. See what he can do. It'll be Larry Drake to the inside of Danny Vicino for the 6th spot. It looks like, 5th spot, excuse me. He'll get on by Vicino, and Drake see if he can chase down this 2-car battle out in front of him. Out in front, still Drew Sherman coming to 4 laps to go. Easily pulling away now from Noah Mel, and they themselves are pulling away. We have another caution for another spin up at the top of turn 2. Harrison Robards had to get on the brakes pretty hard to avoid Tyler Taylor there coming to the caution. So we'll head back. Will now be a 5 lap to go coming at the restart. It is the 21 Bryce Myers going for that spin again, his 2nd spin of the race. Will be a 5-lap shootout for these front runners when they come back to green. As, like I said, the good cars have finally found their way forward. You're going to have a great 5-car battle at least for this feature win. With 5 laps to go, Drew Sherman going to lead them back to green. And behind him, Noah Mel, Tyler Taylor, Harrison Robards, Larry Drake rounding out the top 5. Then Danny Vicino, Paul Day, Nate Jasper, and Bryce Myers, the field, as they work their way back into turn 1. Caution lights are out. 1 to go signal given. Drew Sherman's got to hold on for just 5 more laps to see if he can take a feature win again here at Coles County Speedway. Once again, up to the top of the racetrack he goes, looking for the restart cone. Mill tried to jump him. It wasn't good enough, and it'll be a great restart for Drew Sherman. He's going to get himself a huge advantage by the time they get down to 1. Field is a little bit messy as they work their way back in around the tail end of the field. Noah Mill trying to make that top side work as Tyler Taylor making that bottom lane work now. The top 3 under a blanket as Paul Day gets past Danny Vicino off the start. As Paul Day now making his way forward, finally finding his groove in that number 90 machine. 3 to go for race leader Drew Sherman. It's his car number as well. See if he can continue on. He's easily pulling away. He's gapping the 95 and Noah Mel behind him. Caution will come out again for another 2-car incident up at the top of turn 2. Nate Jasper and Bryce Myers coming together in turn 2. Ends with, for the 3rd time tonight, Myers pointed the wrong way in the exit of turn 1 right at the start of turn number 2. So he'll head to the infield and his race will be over as he's hit his 3-spin limit. It'll be a 3-lap shootout now for Drew Sherman. See what he can do on the coming restart. Drew Sherman has Noah Mel, Tyler Taylor right behind him as the top 3. Up to the top of the racetrack. Can Mel time it better than he has so far? Waiting on it. It's a good jump for both the front 2. Green flags waving once again on the Spartan Transportation A-Class wing feature. Taylor down to the inside as they work off of turn number 2 of Noah Mel. Looking for that 2nd spot, trying to take it away. Mel powering around the outside. 2 to go for race leader Drew Sherman. Time running out for the rest of the field behind them as they work their way back off of turn number 4. White flags waving for Drew Sherman as he works off of turn number into 1 and 2 for the final time. Robards around the outside of Taylor trying to take that 3rd spot away, but checkered flag off of turn number 4 for Drew Sherman, taking the Spartan Transportation A-Class wing feature. 2nd will go to Noah Mel. 3rd, Tyler Taylor, able just to hold on to that 3rd spot. 4th will go to Harrison Robards, and 5th to Larry Drake. 6th can go to Tyler Taylor, 7th Paul Day, and 8th Nate Jasper. The 2 non-finishers, Bryce Myers and Keaton Lyons. Lyons the non-starter. So Drew Sherman into victory lane here at Coles County Speedway for the 2nd time this year in this class. Class win coming just last week. excuse me, not last week, came on opening night. Did not race last week, was that number 3 car. And here he comes, climbing out of the race car is Drew Sherman, your Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing feature winner here at Coles County Speedway. So again, another huge congratulations to Drew Sherman, leading flag to flag in the Spartan Transportation A-Class Wing feature. As he makes his way off the racetrack, coming up next going to be the dirty right rear restricted micro feature, another 15-lap feature. Starting on the pole is going to be last week's winner, Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois, in the number 49. See if he can double up here in the dirty right rear restricted micro feature. Alongside him will be Lydia May from Terre Haute, Indiana, in the 71M. Caden Wells from Brazil, Indiana, in the 5-car will start in third. Fourth will be Forrest Holder from Maryland Heights, Missouri, in the 29. Kylie Bates from Hillsboro, Missouri, starts in fifth in the 12K. Sixth will be J.C. Stanridge from Springfield, Illinois, in the 10. McKenna Cran from Indianapolis, Indiana, in the 31K starts 7th. Riley Bonowitz from Oakland, Illinois, in the 11R starts 8th. Cole Jones from Streator, Illinois, in the 17 starts 9th. And rounding out the top 10 will be Mackenzie Meany from Terre Haute, Indiana, in the 10M. And rounding out the field in the 11th and final starting spot is going to be Kinzer Halloway from Paris, Illinois, in the 79H. So again, this is your dirty right rear restricted micro feature. Like I mentioned before, last week Grayson Graham was the first restricted runner here at Coles County Speedway under the Dirty Right Rear podcast sponsorship. He's going to see if he can double up with the bling and get himself another feature win sticker tonight, or is it going to be someone else? Let's take a look as the field gets organized as they roll their way back to turn number 1. Caution lights extinguished. One more time around for the dirty right rear restricted micros under caution. They work their way up to the start cone, and green flag's going to be waving. Lydia May gets turned right away. She tries to take advantage off the start. Caution comes out. Grayson Graham, Lydia May coming together off the start, and it will be another race. It will be the first race restart of the night. We'll see what race control decides to make decision-wise of where everybody will go. Since this is a race restart, they did not complete a lap under green. We'll see what the decision is. Race control is going to go red to sort this out. Or maybe not. I don't think the red light, unfortunately, it looks like the red light button has stopped working. On the flag stand, there we go, we got it. Red flag is out as they're going to organize the field now. So it sounds like, unfortunately, the tower's receiver radio has died, so we're going red to sort this out and sort the field out. So now Tower talking it over to the drivers about the procedures they're going to go as they come back out onto yellow flag conditions. So since this is a race restart, Lydia May will retake the second place starting position. I must say it's been an absolutely beautiful day of racing out here at the track today. It's 64 degrees right now. It was up in the 70s earlier today when we got started. Fortunately, that wind's playing a little bit of a factor so far. Only 6-mile-per-hour winds right now as I'm seeing. But a beautiful 64 degrees. Pretty clear skies out here tonight at the Speedway. As the field gets themselves sorted back out on the backstretch as they come off of turn number 2, we'll wait for race control. Make sure everybody is in the correct positions. As they come around to 1 to go at the flag stand, it's once again be a 15-lap feature. Scoreboard on the backstretch is incorrect if you are trying to follow along here at the Speedway. But once again, it will be the number 49, Grayson Graham, and Lydia May will be side by side as they bring the dirty right rear restricted micro feature to the green. Off into turn 1 they go. Single file goes the top 3. The rest of the field staying pretty tight in tow, about behind them. Forrest Holder going to be looking for that second spot right away. Cole Jones going for a spin on the entry to turn number 3. Caution's coming out once again. There we go. Scoreboard has been corrected. Now showing 14 laps left to go, so they are going to count that last lap as complete. The leader on the restart going to be the number 49, Grayson Graham. Behind him will be Lydia May. Third will be Forrest Holder. Fourth, J.C. Stanridge, and rounding out the top 5 will be Caden Wells. 1 to go signal given at the flag stand. McKenna Kren 6th. 7th will be Kylie Bates, Kinzer Holloway, Mackenzie Meany, and the others in tow at the tail end of the field. Grayson Graham going to bring the field up to the restart cone up at the top of the racetrack. Lydia May gets a good jump. Green flags waving here once again on the dirty right rear restricted micro feature. Little sideways goes 4th through 5th. Another spin up at turn number 2 is going to bring out the second caution of the feature. Kinzer Holloway this time stuck in the middle 3 wide, made a little bit of contact in the mid-pack, and around he went. So no change in the restarting order except for now the 79H to the tail. Once again, it will be Grayson Graham, Lydia May, the front 2. Behind them, J.C. Stanridge. Third will be Forrest Holder, then J.C. Stanridge. Caden Wells, McKenna Kren out there making up the top 6. As they come back to the 1 to go signal, the caution lights extinguished. Once again, Grayson Graham coming back to the green. At the restart cone, he stays up at the top of the racetrack. Lydia May gets an even better restart than the last time. Green flags waving. Either way, that 49 of Grayson Graham pulling away relatively quickly as they roll around over in turns 1 and 2. Forrest Holder trying to make the moves work as well. Got around Lydia May right away. Caution's out for a spin once again up there in turn number 3. And we complete just one more lap. Be Riley Bonowitz with the spin this time in that number 11R. So track crew will help Riley get turned around. We'll see if she decides to continue on. Either way, the restart, not much changed up front. Except for now, we've got a new driver in second. Coming back to the restart will be Grayson Graham. Behind Grayson will be Forrest Holder, then Lydia May. J.C. Stanridge in fourth. McKenna Kren rounding out the top 5 now. Then Caden Wells. Then Kylie Bates in 7th. 8th will be Mackenzie Meany. 8th will be Cole Jones. 9th, Kinzer Halloway. And we'll see if we can get Riley Bonowitz refired. If she can, she'll rejoin on the field in 10th. Caution lights extinguished for the dirty right rear restricted micro feature. I'll come back to green with 13 laps to go as they work their way up towards the restart cone. Once again, Grayson Graham looking for a good restart. It's a good one. Is it enough to keep the lead at the time they make it back out of turn 1? We're back racing in the dirty right rear restricted micro feature. Side by side, the field behind them. J.C. Stanridge getting picked off into the wall, actually. She gets pushed up into by McKenna Kren as Kren starting to find the pace. That number 31K really starting to roll forward now. Looking to the inside of Lydia May for third. Trouble over at turn number 2. Almost a 2-car spin. But again, only one. This time Cole Jones, the unfortunate person to bring out the yellow in the also car. Also involved was the 12K of Kylie Bates. Kind of went for a synchronized spin, but Bates was able to keep it pointed in the right direction. Unfortunately, Cole Jones just couldn't. And we're back under caution with 12 laps to go. Jones gets refired. He'll join back up at the tail end of the field. Here the front runners going to be the 49 of Grayson Graham. So far led flag to flag at this point, looking to continue that performance. Behind him, the 29 of Forrest Holder, then Lydia May, McKenna Kren, and J.C. Stanridge, the top 5 as they come back to the 1-to-go signal. Caden Wells out behind them in 6th. 7th, Kylie Bates. Then Mackenzie Meany, Kinzer Halloway, Riley Bonowitz, and Cole Jones rounding out the field. 12 laps to go for the number 49 of Grayson Graham. Looking to bring the field back to the restart cone. It's a good restart. Green flags waving once again here on the dirty right rear restricted micro feature. Field pretty well organized this time on this restart. Looks like we might be able to just about to get another lap down to now 11 laps to go for race leader Graham. Graham has Forrest Holder behind him. Then Lydia May and McKenna Kren. Caden Wells with an issue slow on the backstretch into the infield he goes. Riley Bonowitz going for a spin up at the top of turn number 2. She'll get it refired and pointed in the right direction. She's going to wait for the field to pass on by. Then she'll tag back out onto the racetrack, it looks like. She's trying to get the car rolling. She finally gets it going. So the rest of the field single file out on the racetrack. A little bit of a battle there going on for the 5th spot. Stanridge trying to hold on to that spot from Bates. Meany throwing a big slider on Jones, holding on to her position. One car up and over Kinzer Halloway big time on the front stretch. Red flag is out. Track crew already getting Kinzer Halloway's car flipped back onto his right side. Yeah, great sight to see Halloway already climbing from the vehicle under his own power. Unfortunately for Holloway, both of his wings are destroyed, but he is being checked out by our Coles County Speedway safety crew, making sure he's okay after that flip. So Kinzer going to head back to the pit area with the Coles County safety crew. A fortunate end to his feature tonight. So track crew working on getting Kinzer Holloway's car up on the hook so they can get it back to the pit area and so we can get back to yellow flag conditions on the speedway. So track crew working on getting Kinzer Holloway's car pulled back to the pit area. In the meantime, the tower working on getting the restart order before we head back under yellow flag conditions. Yellow flag conditions back out on the speedway. And the field's going to roll off back into their restarting positions. Grayson Graham going to be the leader on the coming restart with 8 laps to go in the dirty right rear restricted micro feature. A couple of drivers maybe needing a little bit of assistance getting restarted. Lydia May will be restarting in third. McKenna Kren fourth when she gets her car rolling once again. And be JC Stanridge in fifth will be the top 5, as you can see on the scoreboard here at the racetrack. Just Stanridge, Bonowitz, and Kren needing some help getting refired. after the red flag. Track crew still working on getting JC Sandridge's car refired up in turn 4. If she cannot get it refired, it would be Kylie Bates picking up the 5th restarting position, but for now she'll restart 6th. 7th will be the 10 of Mackenzie Meany, then Cole Jones and Riley Bonowitz. Unfortunately, Stanridge not going to be able to get the car refired, and down into the infield she'll go. This time the field will come to the 1 to go signal. It will be back underway with just 8 laps to go in the Dirty Right Rear Podcast Restricted Micro Feature. Once again, your leader, Grayson Graham, has led flag to flag so far, looking to continue this with Forrest Holder, a pretty fast car right behind him. See if Forrest Holder could take the leader away as they come back to the restart cone. Diving at it is Graham, and green flags back in the air on the Dirty Right Rear Restricted Micro Feature. Single file go the front 2, then Lydia May has McKenna Kryn to her inside as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Kryn clears for 3rd off of turn number 4. Now McKenna Kryn starting to chase down that number 29 of Forrest Holder right away. See what Forrest Holder can do on the defensive end, as McKenna Kryn definitely a faster car, at least so far. 6 laps to go for race leader Grayson Graham, as Graham continuing to start to pull away from this field as they work their way off turn 4. Coming to 5 to go this time is Graham's. Trouble for Holder, slow on the front stretch, trying to keep it going in the right direction. And Grayson Graham going to continue to extend his lead now over McKenna Kryn in 2nd. Forrest Holder now parked in the infield after his race will come to an end. Anybody now going to need a late race yellow to have a shot at Grayson Graham. Graham looking to pick up his 2nd Dirty Right Rear Restricted Micro Feature win tonight, because he'll come to 2 to go this time, lined at the stripe. McKenna Kryn definitely a faster car. She's closing in, and that's the exact situation she needed. Caution on the racetrack once again. It'll be a green-white checkered finish as Riley Bonowitz goes for a spin in turn 2. So Bonowitz down into the infield. Her feature is over. Coming to 1 to go here on the Dirty Right Rear Restricted Podcast feature. It will be Grayson Graham, the leader. Now he's got McKenna Kryn, who started in 7th, right behind him. Behind her, Lydia May. Any one of these drivers could take the win. It's 3 laps to go. Who's going to take it here in the Dirty Right Rear Restricted Micro Feature through the restart cone? We're back racing. Kryn got a poor restart that time. See what she can do over these next 2 laps to try to give herself a shot at the feature win. She's already on the back bumper of Graham as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Up on the berm goes Kryn. Kryn going to come to 2 to go this time. By for the race leader, Cole Jones, clearing by Lydia May. Lydia May bicycles over there in turns 1 and 2. Now, 49 of Grayson Graham pulling away from the field as he comes to the white flag. That lead extending even further as Kryn's car starting to fade away. Jones clears for 2nd but it's not going to be enough. Race winner is going to go to Grayson Graham, your dirty right rear restricted micro feature winner tonight. Once again, picking up his second feature win sticker with dirty right rear and also picking up the bling. No one else has won it so far this year. And Graham has just continued his dominance on the racetrack this season. Cole Jones with that late race charge ends up in second, and evidently a transponder issue of some sort. Not showing up on the leaderboard. Third goes to McKenna Crin. Fourth will go to Lydia May, and fifth, JC Stanridge in the 12. Grayson Graham into victory lane in the dirty right rear restricted micro feature. For the second time this season, he is looking to continue that dominance as we head further on into the year. This is a great start for the year for Grayson Graham from Bunker Hill, Illinois. Here he comes out of the race car. Let's give a big round of applause to your dirty right rear restricted micro feature winner, Grayson Graham. So another big congratulations given to Grayson Graham, picking up his second dirty right rear restricted micro feature win of the season. As he makes his way off the racetrack. Coming up next will be the 305 sprint cars. Now again, just like the vintage sprint cars, these cars do not have an onboard starter, so they will take time to be push started once they get out onto the racetrack. We hope everybody's enjoyed the racing action so far here at the Speedway. Still two more features left to run. Of course, the 305 sprint cars up next. And then the Cleveland Gray non-wing micros ending up our night later on after the sprint cars. But if there's ever a time you cannot make it to the track, you can always tune in on WFO TV on your favorite Roku device. We'll have every single week streamed by WFO TV. You can find us on YouTube and WFO TV on your favorite Roku device. Now out onto the racetrack, being pushed by their crews is the 305 sprint cars. And they will come on out to the racing surface for their second feature of the season here at Coles County Speedway. On the pole is going to be Cody Warlisle from Burlington, Iowa in the 27. Alongside him, Jarrett Wynett from Springfield, Illinois in the 99. Then in third will be Tyler Shoemaker from Clinton, Illinois in the 1T. This is once again your 305 sprint car feature. The command has been given. The 305 sprint cars will have their engines started for their 15-lap feature. These 305 sprint cars coming across the timing line for the first time, making sure they get picked up by timing and scoring. Cody Werlisle sounds like he's ready. The rest of the field is going to have to catch on up to him as he works his way through turn 3. Now just Tyler Shoemaker waiting to make sure his car is good to go. Shoemaker not confident with his race car. Down into the infield he'll go as it's not on, it sounds like. And it sounds like he does want to push, so we'll give him one more shot here, see if he can get his engine fired up. So Shoemaker going to try to get his engine fired for the second time. It'll get fired. We'll see if he can keep it fired. As Shoemaker makes his way up to the tail end of the field. Field's going to come around to 1 to go at the flag stand this time by. They're not going green this time, going green next time. Flagman giving them 1 to go right here at the flag stand. Once again on the pole will be Cody Werlisle from Burlington, Iowa. Alongside him, Jarrett Wynett from Springfield, Illinois. And then you also have Tyler Shoemaker from Clinton, Illinois, out there at the tail end of the field. Caution lights extinguished for the 305 sprint car feature. 15 laps for the sprint cars as they come on up to the start cone. They're on it. Green flags waving for the 305 sprint car feature. Down to turn 1 right away. Cody Werlisle taking a big advantage over Jarrett Wynett as they work their way through lap number 1. Werlisle and the rest of the field in tow, single file, all up at the middle to the top side of the racetrack. Shoemaker on the bottom. The only car that's down there on the bottom. He will now transition to the top. He hits a rut down there in the third running position as now everybody has migrated up to the top side of the racetrack as Cody Werlisle starting to pull away here already just a couple laps into this 305 sprint car feature. Wynett starting to back up to Jarrett Wynett, backing up to Tyler Shoemaker. Shoemaker trying to make his way forward, looking for that second spot. See what he can do as he approaches the back bumper as race leader Cody Werlisle crosses the stripe for his 5th lap complete. Field pretty single filed out so far. See if anything else changes as we get further on into the feature. Werlisle has about half a lap advantage. Not quite there yet, but he's coming very much closer lap by lap to extending that advantage. Now it is half a lap advantage for that number 27 machine of Cody Werlisle. Jarrett Wynett holding on to that second spot for now. Tyler Shoemaker gets close, then just cannot quite get the move to be complete for that second spot as they will come off of turn number 4. Leader coming to 6 to go this time by just past the halfway mark of the 305 sprint car feature. That 27, Cody Werlisle, absolutely wheeling it out there on the top side, right up next to the Coles Cush tonight here in Mattoon, Illinois. As the rest of them are rolling that top, about middle of the top groove. Shoemaker's a little bit lower. Blue flag going to be starting to be shown this time. Blue flag is shown to Shoemaker. Shoemaker staying on the top side of the racetrack, going to force that number 27 of Cody Werlisle to work for it. Doesn't really need a push. He knows he has both cars in front of him, so he can just sit right here and take the feature win. He knows it. 3 to go. Cody Werlisle working that top side again right behind Shoemaker, seeing how his car will handle in traffic if that's ever a case later on in the year. Almost contact between Werlisle and Shoemaker as they work their way off turn number 4. 2 to go for race leader Cody Werlisle. They're both down to the bottom of the racetrack this time, trying to make that move stick on the bottom. White flags waving for Cody Werlisle, seeing if he can put a lap here on Tyler Shoemaker here on the last lap, side by side into 3. It'll be race leader in that number 27, Cody Werlisle, taking the 305 sprint car feature win tonight. In second place will be that 99 of Jarrett Wynett as he'll cross the stripe on the lead lap. And Tyler Shoemaker, 1 lap down, will finish in third across the stripe for the final time. Cody Werlisle dominates this feature tonight. His first feature at the Speedway. Just a great performance for him, flag to flag, and almost lapped the field doing it. See, he pulls into victory lane. He might need a little bit of assistance getting on up there. And he's out of the car. Let's give a big round of applause to the 305 Sprint Car feature winner, Cody Werlisle from Burlington, Iowa, here tonight at Coles County Speedway. I've been corrected. It is Worley, his last name. Cody Worley, your feature winner tonight here at Coles County Speedway in the 305 Sprint Car feature. So another congratulations to Cody Worley, your 305 Sprint Car feature winner. And with that, there is only one feature left to go tonight. It's the Cleveland Grain Non-Wing Micros. On the pole for the Cleveland Grain Non-Wing Micro feature, 20-lap feature for them tonight, Harrison Robards from Dardine Prairie, Missouri in the 11R. Alongside him, Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona in the 3. Starting in third will be Parker Butt from Fairland, Indiana in the 51B. Starting fourth will be Nolan Bartley from Hammond, Illinois in the 7F. And fifth will be Danny Hayes from Charleston, Illinois in the 211. Also from Charleston, Illinois. Starting in sixth will be Seth Buell in the 2X. In seventh will be Andrew Morgan from Greencastle, Indiana in the 18M. Eighth will be J.R. Carter from Charleston, Illinois in the 456. Ninth will be Danny Vicino from Terre Haute, Indiana in the 21V. Rounding out the top 10, Keaton Lyons from Centralia, Illinois in the 3X. Clay Frederick in the 11 from St. Joseph, Illinois, starts 11th in the 47. 12th will be Lucas Easton from Tuscola, Illinois in the 1. Finally, rounding out the field in the 13th and final starting position will be Dustin Galbraith from Charleston, Illinois in the 38. This is your Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature field. 20 laps for these non-wing micros tonight. Looks like, unfortunately, Dustin Galbraith not out there along with Clay Frederick is out there. It'd be Keaton Lyons not racing in this one either. So we're down to 11 cars in the Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature. 20 laps for Harrison Robards and Drew Sherman at the front row as they come up to the start cone for the 20-lap feature. We're green on the Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature. 3 wide for the lead as they come off of turn number 2. Bupp on the inside, Robards in the middle, Drew Sherman on the outside. Sherman's going to power around to the lead, lap number 1. The rest of the field pretty single filed out behind them. Robards sideways in front of the field. Everybody scrambles, and Harrison Robards the only one taking any sort of damage in that incident. Tough break for him. 1 lap down, though, in the books. Harrison Robards spinning from second is going to find himself now at the tail end of the field of this Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature. Parker Bupp will be restarting in second. Nolan Bartley third. Fourth will be Seth Buell. Yeah, it will be Seth Buell in fourth, now back in his 1X car. Fifth will be Danny Hayes on the coming restart. Field will come to 1 to go signal, this time by with 19 laps to go in the Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature. Once again, Drew Sherman, the leader on this restart. Parker Bupp behind him. Then Nolan Bartley, Seth Buell, and Danny Hayes, the top 5 as they come down the backstretch looking for the restart cone up in turn number 4. Drew Sherman brings them to the top side of the racetrack right next to the Coles Cush. We're back racing on the Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature. Danny Hayes sideways, big way as they come off of turn number 4. Takes the 4th spot away from Seth Buell. Buell now going to try to fight back on the outside, see if he can make that move stick as Danny Hayes tries to take advantage, and he does. He'll hold on to that 4th spot for now. Buell looking to the inside now as they come off turn number 2. 1 car slow on the front stretch. It's 14 of Lucas Easton. As they work their way back into turns 1 and 2, the rest of the field, Seth Buell has a car to his inside, tries to pull the crossover move, is still looking for that 4th spot out in front. Still the front 2 are pulling away from the rest of the field. It's still that number 3 of Drew Sherman out of front, then Parker Bupp, Nolan Bartley, Danny Hayes. Now it's Seth Buell in 4th. He throws the slider going on into turn number 3, and he'll hold on to that 4th spot for now. Now Danny Hayes tries to throw it back in turn 1. His car no pace anymore, and he'll fade back into the 5th position for now. Tries to throw that slider again in turns 3 and 4, but Seth Buell stays ahead of Danny Hayes as they come around to 14 laps to go. Now 13 laps to go for race leader Drew Sherman. Has himself about half a corner advantage over Parker Bupp as he rolls into the backstretch as the field single file out behind him. Blue flag shown to Andrew Morgan at the tail end of the field. He'll stay on the bottom of the racetrack for Drew Sherman as he clips around the outside of the racetrack with 8 laps complete in the Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature. Everyone else pretty single filed out so far, not seeing any real battles happening on the racetrack. Seth Buell pulling away from Danny Hayes behind him. Everybody single file, just kind of running their race right now. As that number 3 of Drew Sherman back into turn number 2 with 10 laps to go at the halfway mark. Looking to lead flag to flag is that number 3, Andrew Morgan, through the infield sliding, pulls it on in. So his race is over. We have 2 non-finishers, Lucas Easton and Andrew Morgan, the 2 cars out of it. Harrison Robards getting to the inside of Drew Sherman, trying to get his lap back. It won't happen. Unfortunately for him, Drew Sherman continues to dominate over Parker Bupp and Nolan Bartley as they are putting on a clinic out here at the stop 3. Sherman now to the inside of Clay Frederick to put him a lap down. Bupp about 2 cars behind him, at least on track-wise. As they come around to 5 laps to go at the line this time by. We'll see if he'll put the 21V of Danny Vicino down a lap quickly. Should be able to do it. That'll be up to the top 5. So only 5 cars on the lead lap right now as Sherman looking to put another car between him and Parker Bupp. Bupp clears the lapped car, and now there's no space between them It's just clean racetrack between Drew Sherman and Parker Bupp. Sherman knows this now. He'll get around Vicino quickly. He has now up to 5th place left. Now a car separating the front two as they're almost now a full straightaway separated as well. Drew Sherman coming to 2 laps to go at the line this time by working his way back off of turn number 2. He's got a car between himself and 2nd place Parker Bupp. He's taking it kind of easy now as he comes around to the white flag this time by Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona, looking for another feature win here tonight at Coles County Speedway. Off of turn number 2 he comes. Just that 1 lap car in front of him, 1 lap car behind him, and he'll come around and collect the checkered flag on the Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature. Drew Sherman, your winner. So Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona, going to pull his car down in the victory lane. Picking up another win here tonight at Coles County Speedway. It's his first win in the non-wing car this year. He finished 2nd back on April 12th. So about a 1.5 average finishing position this year in the non-wing car and a perfect 1.0 average finishing position in his A-Class car so far this year. He's already out of the car. Let's give a big round of applause to your Cleveland Grain non-wing micro feature winner, Drew Sherman from Phoenix, Arizona. And that will conclude the racing action for tonight here at Coles County Speedway. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you all next week. And again, if you can't make it to the racetrack, make sure you tune in on WFO TV on your favorite Roku device. But until next week, we'll see you again here at the racetrack at Coles County Speedway.